Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit and I go crazy when I'm mad. I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning.
What's up, what's up, what's up? What's going on, new dog? Yeah, sitting here eating me a sandwich. Oh, I'm sure you guys don't want to see me eat. You hear me crunching, though. But yeah. Trying to figure out this Panelverse stuff. I'm not sure what to think about it. I've been doing a little research on it, watching the live streams and even some of the recorded stuff, trying to figure out just what it is that they do. Anybody got any idea? Anybody have any idea what the Panelverse is about? You wanna tell me? What's up, Lynette? Anybody want to tell me what the Panelverse is about? Because I'm trying to figure it out. And it's almost as if it's a bunch of people who are trying to be philosophical and you know, deep into their emotions, and kind of reminds me of watching Saturday Night Live. I know you remember this, new dog. Lynette, you probably remember it too. Deep Thoughts with Jack Tandy. Remember where that was at? Remember where you would see the make-believe commercial? Deep Thoughts with Jack Tandy. Somebody gets 5 bonus points if they can tell me where that's from. Where's it from? Anybody remember? What's up, Tony? Come on. Somebody's got to tell me. Somebody's got to tell me. Oh, yeah, by the way, DMCA. That garage dweller, she's under the impression that fair use is a law. They keep saying it's a fair use act. It's a doctrine. But you can't explain the reality to some of these delusional individuals. But if nobody remembers Deep Thoughts with Jack Tandy, that was from Saturday Night Live. Live from Pittsburgh, it's Saturday night. So, you guys want to see my ugly mug? Ooh, look at there, look at that ugly mug. Somebody was trying to suck up to me. Left me a comment and said, "You're a handsome man." Yeah. Handsome. Why don't you explain it, new dog? Explain it so the people who like to steal other people's content will understand what it really is. Try and sum it up in a small little paragraph in a comment. But have any of you ever tried watching the Panelverse? Some channels in the Panelverse aren't as bad as others. But some of the ones, like trying to watch the infamous Jack Talcott. I see, it's too complicated. You're right. And Jack Talcott. I don't know the guy. I wouldn't say know the guy, but I don't really know his content, other than that he's some hated individual because he's trying to bring world peace or some shit. I don't even know. I don't even try to figure out what he's talking about. But excuse me. I know that'll really upset some of you. Ew, gross. But yeah, it's something that I speaking of the Panelverse, it's something that I don't really fully grasp. I guess it's as Cock Goblin screamed and yelled that it's the millennials' reign. I don't know what to even respond to somebody who says the millennials, it's the millennials' chance to reign. What do you mean to reign? Is that who we get to look forward to taking care of us when we're getting too old? Us Gen Xers? Are you going to say, fuck them Gen Xers, man. They're scumbags. They're worse than the boomers. Is that what you're going to say? The unwanted generation, the ignored generation, the the abused, the left to fend for themselves generation, who really, nothing really bothers us. The only thing that bothers me is liars and people like that. My neighbor can do whatever he wants. People can do whatever they want. In my eyes, I don't give two shits. You can do whatever you want. As long as you're not harming me or others, I wouldn't care. So, one thing that the Panelverse does is they like to harm each other. They like to insult each other. They like to try to pick them apart and get into their psyche and do a lot of really weird things, man. Things that I can't understand. Well, of course I understand it, but I don't understand it on the level of why would you do that to each other? I don't know. Is it because of all of the mental deficiencies that one has, so he tries to pick apart the other to diminish their deficiencies or their issues? I don't know. It's crazy. I'll say that Tony over there in the realm that she's in with the group that she hangs out with in the, I guess it'd be, is that part of the Panelverse, Tony? Where your the Stonies channel is that? But see, their stuff's a little different. At least from what little bit I've been over there, it doesn't seem like their purpose is to tear others down to make themselves feel good. Their purpose seems to be tearing people down to show that they're not good people and that they're exactly what I've been claiming they are, or what they claim they are. Oh, excuse me again. I know you guys are going to get upset and I'm going to hemorrhage viewers by burping. Okay, I don't know. I see when there's multiple people talking on the screen, I presume it's the Panelverse, and my apologies if I've offended anybody in your paraboy. But I know you told me what BOYT means, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, you can learn a lot about somebody in the group or the hive mind. I think it's kind of a hive mind mentality for some, and then some are trying to defect, some are trying to get in the hive, the hive won't let some people in the hive. It's really a weird dynamic of human beings, if you ask me. And I guess it's not for me to understand, and I really don't care. But it is a weird but very interesting place. And one thing that I can't seem to grasp is the conversations that they have in the Panelverse are almost, sometimes, not almost, but sometimes, more often than not, it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo, nonsensical, useless conversation that has no meaning to it. It's like, well, here we are. Just tell me about your feelings and what do you think about other members of this community, and how do they address their feelings with the crowds? And I don't know. It's just, it's almost as if they think that they're sophisticated or whatnot. It's very humble right now. Yeah, because I'm chill. I'm never humble. Well, I'm always humble, but I'm exhausted from this bullshit, man. What do you think, hardcore casual? What do you think? Do you think you could handle having, the bullshit directed at you if you were to show your face on your channel and try to address the issues that are insurmountable or whatever? If there's just a little bit or a lot of it, you think you can handle what these clowns throw at me? It's kind of like the Panelverse. Like there's some lacking emotions, and just roll with it. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's, I don't know. It's just one of those things in life that you can't control. So let it flow. And then I seen a video with Lindsay Smith, which is a chick that I was on that Tariq, the T Reigns, the night that I was on his live stream, which they always delete them whenever I come on, or not come on, but anytime it's something that they always delete it. They always go private with it. It's like, shh, don't let them know what you. It's really a weird realm. It's really a weird realm. It really is. I don't. Whatever, man. Do whatever you want. I guess it's all good. And I'm fucking physically tired, hardcore. Or anybody else that gives a hoot. I work my ass off. I'm 57 fucking years old. I'm not laying around the house all fucking day playing on the internet. I'm out and about. I'm doing shit. I'm working my ass off. I got a million things to do, but never enough time to do it. And so my feet hurt. I've been sweating all day. I'm hungry. I'm eating at 11 o'clock at night. What time is it? 11 midnight. I'm eating. Yeah, it's midnight. I'm eating at the wrong times of the day. I just recently lost 100 fucking pounds, and I'm eating wrong. Since my life is consumed with stupidity from assholes in the panelverse, and it's not all of them. Some of them are pretty okay people, I guess. On the surface, but there is a few that are just some of the biggest fucking assholes. Oh, so I create bullshit, right? Is that what you're trying to say, hardcore casual? Or are you one of those, you did it to yourself kind of guys? But you're all on the internet trying to fight for something, aren't you? Y'all want to stand for something, right? You got your truth that you're standing on. What is it that you stand for? Hardcore casual. What is it that you stand for? What are you fighting for on this social media this frantic social media website, platform, whatever it is? What is it that you all are looking to accomplish? Are you just on here just wasting time and you don't really, what do you believe in? You know what oh my God, you're terrible. You're just a disgusting human being. You're burping. My purpose to coming on here my purpose has changed. It's evolved from the beginning, my humble beginnings, to where I'm at now. And it's been 6 years, whatever, since I've really took an interest in showing my face, because most of you don't have the courage to show your faces because you just like, oh no, I can't do that. Most of you don't have the courage. You really don't. Out of all of the YouTubers, let's say 100 million YouTubers in the world, that's probably a low number. I don't know the exact numbers how many users YouTube has on all 7 continents. How many of us actually show our faces? How many of us actually have an amount of numbers that you'd be like, oh wow, he's got more than 10 subscribers? The levels, when you talk about a couple 100,000 subs, and there's very few out of the 100 million that have a significant amount of subs, and then there's a whole lot that have a little bit of subs. So I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't have a lot, of course, and I don't have a little. I have somewhere in the middle. Even though there's a lot of useless subs on my channel, that it's the same 150, 200 people, whatever. Bye. Can't be honest. See ya, hardcore casual. The hard-hitting questions. Maybe you should go over to the Panelverse and You don't want to be the center of attention? You don't like it, hardcore casual? What's the matter? You afraid to show your face? You don't want nobody to know what your emotional state of mind is all about? Later. Peace out. You see what I'm saying, Tony? Lynette? You feel me? You ask a serious question, you're going to come in here and go, you seem very humble right now. What is, in your opinion, what's humble? Because I'm talking low. And I'm not talking like I normally talk, because I'm just tired and I'm exhausted and mentally exhausted from all of the fucking insanity that your heroes produce and conduct out here. Hardcore casual. Maybe you should go watch Direct D, Christopher Ruff. Or maybe go watch the Brian Young from High Impact Vlogs, got his channel back. Yeah. There's another channel for you guys to sit in front of and watch those 15-minute videos that Brian produces, and he talks about his euphemisms and his fucking bullshit. And he blows smoke up your fucking butthole. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about? This is why I come in here and I say what I say, because guys like Hardcore Casual, he's always been in here running his fucking mouth, or her mouth, whatever it is. They always come in here and run their mouths, and then when you question them and say, well, what is your purpose? What do you want out of the YouTube paradigm? What's up with you? Later. Bye now. Bye-bye. And it's not just Hardcore Casual. Sorry, Tony. Sorry, Lynette. I'm asking you a purpose too. What is your purpose? And you probably wouldn't tell me. Not that I expect you to, but hey, sometimes maybe if I ask the questions, maybe somebody will respond with an actual intelligent dialogue. You know, like, what is your purpose here? What do you guys want out of YouTube? What do you want me to do with my YouTube? What would make you happy? How do I please you? So I watched the panel verse, and I kind of like, I try to listen to it. You know, I don't have a small attention span. I'll watch something or somebody or whatnot if it's interesting. And if it's not interesting, I'm sitting there going, what the fuck am I, what's the point of this? Where's this going? What's it doing? Does this resolve anything? Does it? Oh, hey, is this Bex? Is this Bex? Hey, Bex, you want to come on and have a conversation? You sit in OTW's live stream, and for hours and hours that you guys do it. You want to come on? Can you come on quicker than the porn bombers? Can you? I'll give you the link. The porn bombers are getting ready. You ready? Okay, let's see. Let's see if you can beat the porn bombers. Let's see if you can beat Snafu Snaps in his porn bombing. Let's try it. Hardcore, shut your fucking mouth or you're going to get blocked and you're going to whine and cry because I blocked you. Shut the fuck up, dude. How's that? There you go, RBX. Bex. So clearly Hardcore Casual is a fucking troll who has zero purpose, and he's just running around the internet acting like a fucking goofball. Oh, so you're too weary. You're too weary to come out here? You just tell me, yeah, you'll come out here, and then you won't. Okay, well. Not a shock. Let's delete the comment. Oh, Bex did enter the studio. Okay, that is Bex. Can you turn your camera on just for a second so I know it's you, and you don't have to bring your camera on. I just want to make sure it's you. You don't even have to show your face. Just stick your hand in front of the camera. Come on, you know the routine. You know the routine. Got to be careful. All right, let me see now. Can I see your hand? Can you wave your hand in front of the camera? You got to back it up. I just see like a streak or something. There you go. You got to back your hand up. Back your hand up a little bit. You got a green screen on or a background or something. Turn your background off. You don't have to be in the camera. All right, there you go. Show me. I know, I don't trust it either. I don't trust it either. That's why I'm not bringing you up until I see your hand, Bex. Well, then you're not coming on, Bex, because I don't believe it's you. That's what I thought. I know, Tony. I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. It was probably Snaps. You know, No rain check. Because it's really not you. Can you take a rain check on my live stream? But if I was OTW and I was doing well, I'm not going to allow you to come on here if I don't know who you are. You don't have to show your face, just like I said. You can take your camera and go like this, and go like this, and you could go like this, and then when I say hold up, 1 finger, 2 fingers, whatever, you can do that. I don't need a porn blocker. I just need to not let fucking people on here because I really don't care. I don't really fucking care. But I know you don't use your camera. I wasn't asking you to show your face. I was asking you to show your hand, and then so I could see that you were real. But whatever. I guess you'll wanna wait until another channel pops up and goes live. And that's another issue, is that a lot of you people don't like to show your faces online. Why? Why not? Excuse me. Why not? Why don't you want to show your face? Is there some reason? Look at my ugly mug. Trust me. I'm not looking to show my face on here because I'm in a. It doesn't matter why I don't want to show my face, but here I am. Here I am. Yeah. So, but anyways, the panel verse is really odd to me anymore. Or not anymore. It's not like I've been on it. I've only known about the panel verse for about a month and a half. What's the date today? I can actually tell you. I've only known about the panel verse for. Let me see. Sure, I should put my bra on because it's not really hot in here. I have a. I wasn't even gonna say, but all right. Let me see. Where's my calendar? There it is. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 weeks. I'm not even, because I didn't even really go and look anything up on the panel verse, and I'm not even really. I have no interest in the panel verse. I'm just gathering dirt on a particular subject. A particular subject. I'm gathering lots of fucking dirt. So, it's like this hardcore casual asshole. And you're an asshole, dude. My name is Snafu Snaps, and I will haunt you to the end of time. Well, I can't say that what you're saying isn't true, but the fact that you come in here and you say stupid shit like that tells me that you're an asshole. That you're just a fucking asshole. And there's a lot of you like that. It's not something that I'm not used to. Well, you probably have a little teeny wiener. So it's not like, you'd be lying. You see what I mean, Lynette? This fucking asshole, I keep him around. You got it. Hey, Lynette, you got it on the member or subscribers only? Did you forget to turn that on? Well, at least, Lynette, you admit that you have no purpose. And it's not a individual like you, Lynette, and I get you. I understand you, and I understand Tony. But it's people like hardcore casual who bounce from channel to channel to channel to channel. Okay, thank you. You go from channel to channel to channel, hardcore casual, and you just run your mouth. And you harass people. And what purpose does that serve? Do you feel better about yourself? Your life is so drab and meaningless that you feel that harassing somebody, say like me for an example, that you feel better about your nothingness in your life? Is that how you find the purpose, is to run around the internet and fuck with people? Well, I know you had some kind of fake green screen setting on in your studio, and I told you that. That's what I said. You have a fucking green screen on or a background, and you turn it off and hide out of the camera. If you still have the link, you still have the link. But what's my point is that what is up with you people on the internet like hardcore casual that you watch me, you fucking stare at my videos, you listen to my every word. You clearly know about Snafu Snaps. You make a comment. I'm Snafu Snaps and I'm gonna hunt you till the end. Uh, why would you run around the internet and behave like this, man? Are you fucking mentally deficient? Why does anybody run around the internet acting like an asshole, harassing people? I don't run around the internet harassing people. I stay on my own channel and fucking tell people like it is and they don't like it. She was using RBXH in the chat the other night too. Whatever. But why do you people run around the internet doing the shit that you do? That's what I want to know. So turn on your camera. You don't have to show your face. Okay. Now back up your hand a little bit. All right. Now let me see you put up one finger. I can't see. Back your hand up. There you go. Now put up three fingers. All right. She's back. Now turn the camera off. And let's see if I get fooled. Let's see if I get fooled.
I don't fuck around.
Hold on, let me
I
put
don't
my
fuck.
earbuds in.
Yeah.
Hang on a
Hello.
second.
Hello. Okay.
Hold on, let me a second. Let me hear your voice.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, this is Bex.
Yeah.
What's
I
happening?
don't. I don't. I don't fuck around. Honestly, I'd
Well,
whatever that
clones,
whatever
clones.
whatever that's whatever that setting is that I had up on the camera. I had just recently gone into a desktop mode in on my phone and
Right.
played around in settings that don't usually exist, and I didn't even know that it stayed on as a setting. So
No, it's
I
cool. I ain't mad at
understand
you.
your caution, but I
Well,
don't.
yeah. No, it's you. I
Yeah,
know it's you, so I
yeah,
appreciate it. I just
yeah,
got to be cautious because,
yeah.
if I put the link in here, I'll have 12 um 12 people trying to get in, or not people,
Hmm.
but 12 porn screens on here for all kinds of stupid shit. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And so
Hmm. I
where's
can't.
Rachel Zinger? I don't see her.
I saw NM down there. Yeah, I popped over to say hello because I met you over at OTW's.
Yeah.
Um, I more came up to prove that it was me and say hello. When I initially said I'll take a rain check, it's more just because I am feeling really tired and weary tonight. But I also know that what it's like to be out here on YouTube and, to have all the fucking fuckery, pardon my language, tomfoolery, whatever you
You
want to
don't have to
call it.
you don't
You
have
know,
to worry about your language here. I'm a trucker and I
okay,
cuss
yeah,
I
a
cuss way too much. And you can say
bunch of
whatever
bloody
words you want.
factards.
Well,
So
it's endless.
yeah,
And
so
but no, I appreciate it, but
yeah.
there's um it's get rid of hardcore. Put them in timeout, man. I'm sick of listening to that dickhead's fucking mouth. I'm tired of this stuff, Bex. You know, this is hardcore
Yeah.
casual clown in the chat. He comes in here, he fucking runs his mouth. One day he's a nice guy. Oh, don't be mean to me. And the next guy is the fucking piece of shit. This is what I mean about YouTube, man. Is what the fuck is wrong with these people on here?
Well,
You got an
but since
opinion
we're
on
here,
the weirdos?
well, yeah. Although I point one finger out, I have three pointing back. Like I'm here too. I've been here for years. A couple
Yeah.
years now. So
Do you run around troll
it's
people?
I'm not no, I'm not a troll. I'm not a sock account kind of person. I mean, do I push back on things that are ridiculous and can I hop up and say things? I mean, there's people out here brainwashed thinking like they're running around like the tunnels under Hollywood, the tunnels under Hollywood. I don't know if you're aware of like the conspiracy world, the truther verse, you're like, look, lady, if you think there's like people, bad things happen to people in Hollywood, like go get a bulldozer, okay? Dig a fucking hole,
Right.
like,
Go
you're
buy
not
a
going to like solve
flamethrower.
yeah, you're not going to solve the problems on YouTube, right? Like, by trying
What?
to,
Are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah. So I'm just using that one as an example. I mean,
Well, you
there's
mean
lots of
you?
things.
Yeah, yeah. You're not gonna
It's like,
stop fucking. You're not gonna stop the pedo rings and the pogo channels by running your
well, and
mouth
I
all
just
over
say,
the internet.
well, yeah, or here's a better one. A million men strong have decided that every problem in the world is because of women, right? And because a million men strong, have actually talked themselves into the the gayest, hubristic, right? Like superiority complex you've ever seen in the entire world. And then on
Right.
top of it, a bunch of people who think that AI is smart enough to take over the world, not even realizing that,
What it really
not
is.
even realizing that when that robot dog comes to like shoot you out, that Elon Musk is sitting in his house with a joystick, you bloody retards, pardon my language, right? So, I mean, let alone the manosphere that gets a woman like me, on panels who's like, suddenly emasculates people, not my problem, like whether like women aren't smart
Masculate
enough and
away.
women can't logic and whatever, and they've been sitting in rooms with like a million men strong. They think, oh, Reddit threads and everybody's read this. It's anyways. I'm just like that we're superior. No, you look gay. You all
Women
look gay, and
women
there's
are
nothing
very
wrong.
women are very powerful, man.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I could go on and on and on and on and on.
Oh,
I'm gonna get
it's
a lot of backlash for being here, but I'm sure. Okay.
who are you gonna get
Um,
the backlash from? One question.
I mean, I don't, I speak zebra somewhat. I'm just saying in the Panaverse, I'm not saying that I'm very capable of, I'm a bit of a floater. Like people would be, she's a flip flopper. She's a fence sitter. It's like, no, I just try not to have like enemies, right? Toxic tribalism is
Well,
stupid, especially when you're sitting alone in your house. You've been in toxic tribalism with a bunch of strangers online and you have no real tribe in your life anymore, right?
yeah,
And they're like,
I hear you.
we're the chosen ones. We were so woke, we didn't take any medicine or didn't take a jab or whatever. And we're so special. Like, it's like, you're no,
Does that
right?
does
So,
that does that make you a truther because you didn't take a jab?
well, I mean, you're accepted. You'd be accepted just, I mean, in the truther, yeah, the truthers would accept you just for that, right? I would think,
Well, then how come I'm not accepted?
Um,
Silly question, right? Is that a loaded question?
well,
So-
okay, first of all, do you believe in adrenochrome? Like, do you believe that it affects that? First of all, the effects of adrenochrome are real.
well, yeah. When you torture a child and you can
You eat
extract
its brain?
adrenochrome.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. Well,
And
it's
you eat
it's
its brain? You're
it's
either going
not.
to get high as ever, or you're going to,
Well,
you're going
or
to live
you're
forever,
or you're
or,
gonna you're gonna you're gonna have a youthful existence or whatnot. Yeah, I believe that it's
yeah.
an actual thing. Is there that would probably take you into the realm of the Luciferian beast system. So
Yeah. I just think that, I mean, I think that belief is insane.
well,
That's
you believe.
absolutely insane.
Well, I don't have any proof that it occurs. Is it
Well, and
possible?
that's why without
Yeah.
verifiable proof on something like that, and anybody like myself saying, prove it, then prove it.
Well,
Find
how
anyone
how
who
are
can prove
how
it.
are you? How are you going to prove it?
What?
How would
Well,
you be able to prove it?
you'd have to go harvest some. You'd have to turn yourself
Yeah.
into a diabolical maniac, is what you'd have
Well,
to do.
there's
So
a
it's a
right.
perfect. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you can actually laugh at the idea that AI could take over the world, then you must be able to laugh at the idea that that boogeyman story out there, okay, is fucking insane.
Well,
Like it
what you
literally
want?
is fucking insane.
Well, you want to know what else is insane?
What?
Is people believing that they're not saying that it's not happening. That
Yeah.
I'm a little older than the average YouTuber. I'm
We're probably
57.
similarly aged.
Well, I'll be 57 in a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever.
Yeah,
And
and I'll be 53 this year.
okay, well, I've been around the block. I've been a truther all of my life because I've seen things that most people couldn't see or don't see. You know, Skittles Brat 30. Thank you for the new membership. That's not necessary, but thank you. I'm not a YouTuber that you
Well,
want to
I
be a
guess
member to.
I'm coming out here today and I'm gonna say to you guys that I'm the asshole for telling people that you should try and prove a theory before you fucking actually follow the theory. Everyone's like, well, we
No,
didn't,
no.
like that's, I mean, you look at how badly people have slandered people on YouTube, okay? Right? You just think about something that someone does for
Yeah,
no
yeah.
money, for no subs and no money. Okay?
Well,
You don't think
that's
that someone could have started a rumor about the Rothschilds 500 years ago that they were eating baby brains?
that's a possibility. Anything's
You know?
possible because I look at things from both sides of the coin, no matter what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I say, until I have verifiable actual proof, to me, that's a theory. And only thing that I believe in are facts. And
Would
I,
you believe
I,
that baby snot would get you high? Like if they were like, you know what?
no,
We just
no,
want
no,
to
no,
make them
no, no,
cry so hard. And if
no.
they cry hard, no, I'm just saying, like, it is absolutely, I won't belabor the
Well,
point. It is
no, no.
absolutely an insane idea. And there's
Well,
no
you're
verifiable
right.
proof.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
It's insane.
I'm not going to take that away from you. But one other
Yeah.
side of that coin is that the possibility of it actually being true is
No,
that. No, I'm just saying.
no.
Hold on. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out.
Yeah, I will.
The possibility of that being true, where adrenochrome can be harvested from torturing children before they, get rid of them, is
Yeah.
it's possible. Okay, so when I've been a truther for a long time, and if
Yeah.
I've heard and seen a lot of crazy things in my ventures.
Yeah.
My information gathering.
Yeah.
When you have audio of allegedly, and I always say, who knows that it's even true even at this point? But you have audio
Especially,
of John Podesta and Hillary supposedly doing it, and you have voice recognition software saying that that's a match and da 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 da,
yeah.
and what I'm listening to sounds pretty heinous, and then when you hear, and so some of the times where I go, I heard it, just because you hear it doesn't mean it's true. But then before the internet even existed, I'll tell you this: I've been a truther or woke, whatever you want to call it. I'm just aware of the
Yeah.
insanity of the world. I don't even put a label to it. I'm like, call me tinfoil hat guy, whatever you want to call me.
Yeah. That name's
But
already taken.
well, right.
You're bad Apple Media. You're bad Apple Media. That's what you got.
Fat apple, fat
Bam.
apple, fat ph, fat apple, or dirty trucker. So, but back in the '90s, early '90s, when um, Ruby Ridge happened, if you know any about Randy Weaver, okay.
The name, the word, it's ringing a bell, but not anything more than a bell.
Well, it was an individual. Way back then, I heard all the stuff that I knew about it
Yeah.
before, because it was way before the internet, and the information was fairly accurate about him going off grid, trying to get away from the United States citizenship, status, because he corrected his status and blah 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 blah. And that's something that I've been interested in all of my life, is correcting your status to become, sovereign, without
Mm-hmm.
being part of
Mm-hmm.
the corporation. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I heard about that story back in the early '90s was fairly accurate in the grand scheme of things. When the internet didn't exist and the information wasn't so readily available, like instantaneous, it was obviously from mouth to mouth to mouth to mouth, for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. So it was fairly accurate. So in comparison, to take just the adrenochrome situation and to say, is it true? I don't fucking know. But there is a possibility that it could be, because the information that I've heard, if it's not true, they sure
Can
do
I
go
tell
out of their
you?
way. Hold on.
Can I
If it's
know.
not true, they sure go out of their
Yeah.
way to make you believe it's true.
Yeah, yeah. But and you've seen the kind of lengths that just idiots will go to when there's nothing at stake to hate for a hobby.
Right.
That and I, yeah, and that this, when there's things at stake, like empires at stake, like huge money and controlling the world, then definitely there's going to be people
Yeah.
that can. put forth? Can I just put forth a little bit of a theory that kind of does
Sure.
overlap into other
Sure.
truther stuff? Okay,
Thank you,
so we're going
Maria
to talk
Haunted
about.
Hellcat. You don't need to donate money, but I appreciate it. And then she says, I don't remember the
Well,
90s. I was tripping.
I wanted to say that I liked her line when I die, I want people to snort me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
um,
But anyways, go ahead
so
with your theory.
okay, so first and foremost, there's incentive from the top all the way down to the point of private foster care systems, right? To
Right.
falsify documentation, right? That to
Yeah.
get money from the highest sources, right? So right down to there's going to be a certain amount of fake birth certificates
Right.
and fake paperwork to support getting that money, right?
It's a
And
possibility, yes.
it doesn't even have to be, it's not necessary, it's definitely not the office of the foster care system doing it, right? Like it's inherent in the system. It's set
It's
up
it's it's part
to,
of the
yeah,
machine.
it's part of the machine to get the money transfer, right?
Right.
There's also reasons why a, a a country might hyperstate its population, right? Like um just for looking strong and powerful. I'm not saying the America would do that any more than any other nation would do it, right?
Well, no.
There's just incentive to it's like it's just
It's
consider
it's
it
inf-
kind of like dick
inflating.
size,
It's
right?
inflating.
It's
It's
the
like
yeah, it's
inflating
the
your
country,
YouTube channel numbers.
yeah, it's like the country's version of fucking dick size, right? Like you gotta
Right.
wield your power, right? And so
Yeah.
okay, so that's
Got a
one
the
thing we can be
sword. The
aware of.
swords.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can exactly. So we can be aware of that one point that there's a certain number of children that are invented, that aren't actually in existence, right? Secondly, then I would say and that's for financial gain. Then I would say, secondly, um, uh, I don't know which order I want to put this in, but I will. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
go to this next
Just,
point
just
yet.
just shake them up and throw them out there.
Okay, so the next thing I want to say is that if they say 400,000 children go missing roughly every year out of America, right? Then where are the parents? Okay, like we'd be hearing a certain percentage of people being like, whoa, something's happening, right? Like there'd be at least somewhere on the internet, at least 100 people or 1,000 people have gotten together. I mean, look at the manosphere. Okay. Like I'm just saying, there's like that's
Well,
huge, right? Like so,
that's a good question.
so,
For
so let me share
what
with you
if?
my theory on it. Okay, so I have two theories. You already saw the financial gain. Some of those children don't exist, and there could be a lot of them, right? A lot of them. Now,
Yep.
conveniently, the people that might be setting that system up for you guys, right? With no pointing fingers out at who they might be bankers, okay, bankers, right? Who now have transferred a bunch of money into the system, right? Into the
Right.
system. Now, on top of that, if you look
Through the
at
Social
this
Security
bank,
donation situation. Yeah. Right.
yeah, yeah, and so on top of that, you have so there's incentive for the
What up, Alo?
the government to keep that system going. Like, okay, whatever the fake paperwork is, right?
Right.
Now, on top of it, there's I've seen since in my lifetime looking at the uplifting and the downtroddening of America, right, as the heroes of the world.
The bullies,
Who
the police of the world. Yeah.
Well, but really heroes and bullies, right? Heroes but bullies. Is it heroes or bullies? Well, when people
It
play
depends
victim,
on what country
okay,
you're in.
yeah. So when people play victim, right? Like, and we could be specifically talking about maybe banker moves here, right? Some banker moves, right? But when
Yeah.
people play victim, the person who they're playing victim to will always be seen, and this is on a micro scale. If you have a friend who plays as what's their victim status, and they're basically, you will be either their hero or their villain. That's what you'll be, right? So in the role of their dynamic as a victim, they're, oh my God, thank you so much for helping me out, right? And next thing you know, if there's going to be a point with somebody who's a victim in your life who's going to be like, oh, you're the problem. Like, it just happens. You may as well just see his villain role. Anyways, that's not really my point. But So getting back to this uplifting and downtrodding the United States at the same time. It started with JFK's newspaper. The day JFK, was buried, the newspaper, a centerfold of the newspaper is basically his feet out of a coffin. Not quite. It's the coffin. Okay. It's the end of the coffin, right? And on the other side of the newspaper is his son celebrating his birthday. Right?
Junior?
Yeah. And this was sent out to the world. Okay. This was sent out to the world. Right. Now, the rest of the world, most of the rest of the world, not necessarily the Commonwealth or the Western world, but lots of the Western world and most of the Eastern world, and especially where the bankers are, okay, is looking at that
Eastern
and
Europe,
looking down,
right?
Yeah, looking down their noses at America. Oh, just for that print. Now, we know who owns the publishing houses, but again, doesn't matter, right?
At
just
that
for
time.
Just for that print, right? Like that showed the world right there that the American people have no morals. Okay. They don't care about family, that their presidency, but country is better than anything, right? Because you would actually have no family in the entire world, no royal family, no anybody would ever have a funeral and a birthday on the same day. Okay. Not for a 3-year-old, not for a 5-year-old, maybe for a 12-year-old. But even then, every 12-year-old knows that no. And in most of the world, even a 12-year-old knows that they can put their birthday off because grandpa died or daddy died or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's just another day. It's a sad day. Remorse.
Exactly. So,
and yeah, I get that.
So I believe, right, that, if we really want to look at, what happened, Project Paperclip, so the Bolsheviks.
Project Rusty.
So we're just going to talk about this 400,000 first, right? Because and then we'll get into the sort of how and who and what. But ultimately, so first of all, we've got into the idea that some of these people are undocumented, like that they didn't exist, some of these children. I'm not trying to minimize that things happen in the world and bad things happen to children at all. I'm not trying to minimize that. We're trying to talk us through something quite logical here. In a world
I'm
where
listening intently.
Okay, in a world where you think that a child is dead, you'll never go looking for that child. And that's convenient for these people, okay? Whether they're taking them to other countries, whether they're taking them to islands that aren't on the map, right? And they could just be taking them there to populate them, right? I'm not even saying that they could be taking them there for medical experimentation. They could be putting them in castles and marrying them to their relatives, for all I know. All I'm saying is that you will never go looking for someone if you think that they're dead, right? So when you've got a 500-year, 300-year rumor going that this is what happens when the ones that do go missing, if they are going missing, then you're never going to go looking for them because you think that sparing people
there's no why waste your time.
Yeah, so that's convenient, right? So it's a boogeyman story. Now, if we want to get into why the boogeyman might be doing these things and, that kind of stuff, you kind of have to look at the idea of World War II, and I'm not going to get into the mustache man and all that jazz. I just want to talk about the motion of some imposters, potentially. They say the victors lie. They say victors write history. And they told us the victors are so proud that they brag. Right now, they might not brag about.
They reveal themselves.
Yeah, they won't brag about the genocide and stuff, right? That'll have to come out later,
or destroying the old world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not going to brag about any of that. They will tell us they've dropped over 2,200 whatever kind of bombs you want to believe they are.
Munitions,
they definitely have. They definitely have destroyed a lot. They dropped over 22 or 2,500 what they call nuclear bombs. You can tell I've been around YouTube a long time, right? So I'm just saying what they call. They were blowing stuff up, and we know that. In a matter of I can't even remember, 40 years or something, 50 years, right? It's a lot of a lot of destruction.
They've been destroying shit, yeah.
So where was I? I was done. We were done talking about the 400,000 for now, right? Just because I want to say,
paperclip, and
okay. So at victors, right? So they tell us the victors.
The spoils go to the victors.
Yeah, and they brag about it, right? But what
Oh
we
yeah.
never thought about is the lying victor who says he lies and lost. So in the Bolshevik Revolution, somebody came into Russia, right? And did they win in the Bolshevik? Anyways, doesn't matter. They come into Russia, right? And yeah, they lose to Russia, right? And Russia then goes into Germany, and Germany wins. Then Germany goes out into Europe and
Eastern
beyond,
Europe.
right? You know,
Yep.
mhm.
Tries to.
And that baits the Americans over, right? That baits the Americans over. And now you have a situation where now, so what happens? Oh, the Americans stop it, right? But somehow when it stops, all of a sudden, all of the Russian scientists, right? Well, behind the Iron Curtain, we'll call them German, it doesn't matter. Behind the Iron Curtain, right? That the scientists get split, the German scientists get split between Europe and Russia. But remember, right? Remember the Bolsheviks revolution into Germany, right? Feigning like they've lost. You see what I'm saying? They feign like they lose. That's what they do all the way through.
Well,
So
there's a
essentially,
purpose for that.
I know, so that they can come in. So I think that
Yeah.
I think America did not win the war
No,
for the
hell no.
world. You know,
They
they
didn't win.
lost it. And
The
you
war
could go
never
back
ended.
further and say, that those bankers actually originated in America, did all this, blah, 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 and people can say all that. But what they've got to understand is these bankers that we call them, or, and the elite of the world, they're
The
supranational.
bloodlines. The
Yeah, they're
bloodlines.
supranational. They don't have a nation. Their nation is. They may be in the nation. Yeah, they have a passport, right? They have a sick passport. They
Yeah.
speak many
Yeah.
languages we don't even know. They're probably Atlantis being cloaked in the middle of the ocean.
Maybe from the other
Like,
side of the ice wall. You never know.
mm-mm. But we
You know.
can say this, right? That there's lots of reasons for let's say they do have land beyond the ice wall, or they even have more land here, right? One thing you would want to do, right? One thing that you might want to do is populate, right? So
We
you
can
can.
incubator babies, Cabbage Patch Kids. What's up?
Well, I think even incubator babies are probably babies taken. They're probably actually the babies that were
Orphaned.
actually quote unquote adrenochrome babies.
Oh well, yeah, that's a
Right.
possibility
So
too.
from somewhere else, right? It's like, oh, well, over in that place, that's where they do all these things. We're too scared to go. We don't want to, go near those people who might be using technology, even if not smoke and mirrors, to make us really scared of them. Right. Even nowadays, making fake videos and stuff, there's still shitty things going on. It's good to know. Wouldn't people be happy to know that 200,000 of those children didn't exist, right? Or like, shouldn't that just bring some? And people are like, well, it doesn't really matter. Bax is still 200. I get it, right? So,
Well,
but
well,
at what
that's
point? At what point?
how could you prove it though? You know,
Yeah, but
that's
how do we prove that 400,000 children are missing? Have you found the paperwork for all 400,000?
no, absolutely not. But there's the two
Right.
sides of the coin.
But it's slanderous, right? It's slanderous if it was happening on YouTube and someone was saying, "Hey, you took children, you do this stuff," right? You see what I'm saying? Why is it not slanderous to do it to people that you don't even know are actually doing it? You have no proof that it even happens, right?
Well, I
So
guess that
if
would be
someone
the
can do that
definition
to
of
you on an
propaganda.
individual basis, then how can someone do that on a great basis? Now I know someone's going to be like, "She's an agent for the Luciferian system," but that's
Well,
because it's called cognitive dissonance. We ripped out cognitive dissonance and we replaced it with more cognitive dissonance, right? We have to come to the center path and try and figure out, because it's reasonable. It's reasonable to know that there are children being hurt, being taken, right? There's people
oh yeah.
all over the world being enslaved in places where they go and they get jobs and, their passports are taken. And, there's definitely people right now being held in sexual slavery and all sorts of stuff. I'm not trying to minimize
Oh,
that.
it's a
And if we
cruel
can have,
world.
yeah, it's a cruel world. But,
Without a
when
doubt.
an idea of something is so abhorrent that you can't test it, You can't. It's so abhorrent that, in fact, it makes you feel like a better person because you know that if people were doing that, holy man, what you would do to those
Especially
people,
if you're against
right?
it, you got to be a better person.
Like
Just on the
but
surface.
let's just say, what if it wasn't true, right? No wonder Hollywood has huge walls up around their fucking estates. Because look at the emboldened people who think that they could just go and if they wanted to. There's people out here that would eat the rich, you
Oh,
know?
without a doubt, because
And
that's yeah.
and we should be just upset with them for being greedy motherfuckers. Okay? That's enough to be upset with the world. Like I'm just saying that is enough to be upset. I
Well,
personally
there's
now I'm a
many
Canadian. I'm a
many
full-on
reasons,
socialist. Yeah. But
right?
I'm saying
There's yeah.
inherent in the system, you don't see this happening in apes, right? Again, I'm not trying to say, but a lot of people believe in the ape theory, right? So I'm just
Well,
saying you don't see apes fucking doing this to one another, right? Like this is something, right, that exists inside someone, and we don't want to
this
believe
this is a
that
created
humans.
this is a created reality. It's manufactured.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
in all levels and in all degrees. So
Yeah.
um, if people are gonna believe in it, there's gonna be people that are gonna convince you of it, whether it's true or it's not, as long as it benefits them. And
Mhm, mhm,
you know, I'm a firm believer. Not saying I'm not discounting anything you said, but
mhm.
to do what they're doing for a purpose other than as a manipulation, is
Now,
it
wouldn't
for
you be
money?
relieved? Yeah. Would you be relieved to find out they weren't doing that though? Like, would you
Well,
be
as
if
far as
someone
I'm
said,
concerned, is it really? I don't know what's happening. I don't have any proof.
mm,
That's the
mm,
thing is, I personally don't know anybody, and I know a lot of people. And this country is not that big. This world is really not that big. The land mass that we're on is really not that big. I've been all over this country, and I know. I don't personally know anybody who average out 400,000 kids a year. That's missing, and let's take that number 400,000. You go out, you could Google it, and it'll say it's 800,000. But 400,000 divided by 50 states. Do the math. I don't know one person that's ever had a missing child.
mhm,
I don't know one. I
mhm.
know I know one family member had a family member disappear, and that was up in the
Yeah,
Northwest. But that could have been a drug
yeah.
situation or whatnot. But
I do.
I don't know anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody who's missing children.
I live in a town. I live in a city that did have a boy go missing. He's never been found.
Okay,
Right, Michael Dunnihy. His name's Michael Dunnihy. He went
right?
missing from a um, uh, government housing playground. It was a really now. I also live in this same city. I'll dox my. It's fine. People know I live on Vancouver Island in the capital of British Columbia, Victoria. It also is a place where a book was put out years ago called Michelle Remembers, and it was a woman who remembered being involved in sexual
SRA,
ritualistic, yeah, SRA,
yep.
and
Satanic
and
rituals.
and and she didn't she was an adult when she wrote the book, right? So she was writing about the 60s or 70s, and this town came to be known as the Satanist capital of Canada because of the book she put out. They then debunked it, right? Now I know that people
Well, who
online would say
debunked it though?
it's cred-
Who
exactly.
debunked it?
But I'm just saying. So I do happen to live in a place that have those two stories go in congruence, right? So Satanist capital of Canada, a woman that remembers, and I don't care if it's debunked, and a boy that went missing. But you'd think there'd be more children going missing from this town if that those two things were correlated, or if
Right.
what now. I'm not trying to minimize Michelle. Michelle was alive, okay, so she wasn't claiming anyone was being killed or anything, right? So I'm just saying, so those two things are related in our understanding, but like she wasn't claiming that. She was still that's abhorrent enough. I'm not trying to minimize what happened to her in any way, shape, or form. So I'm saying I do live somewhere. I live somewhere where that has
Well,
happened. Someone's
there's
gone missing
somebody.
and people have
Yeah,
talked of. Yeah. Yeah. So
there's
so
somebody missing
definitely
everywhere.
Yeah,
to a degree.
but never, I mean, thank goodness, never has another child gone missing in a way that it's been made public.
Well,
And I'm,
not at the statistical numbers that they're
mhm.
talking. So that would
Now
mean
we
you would
know
know
that,
20 people that
yeah.
had missing children. You
Now
know.
we also know how easily things can be silenced online. We know how easily
Oh,
they've
for
been
sure.
able to clean up like what used to be online and stuff like that. So is it arguable that there could be someone, suppressing these parents saying, hey, hey, hey? But we also know that parents would be picketing, right? Or we'd even see street
Well,
people running around. We'd see people on the streets running around screaming, like, I lost my child. This is why I'm like losing my mind on the street. I live in a place where there's a lot of homelessness, and there always
right.
has been. It's a great climate for it. It's the perfect climate for it. So
Well,
and it's a social system. So
I get it, but the thing is without any, with being able to use their ability to keep information from getting out there, it's not that difficult when you have a select few that share information, but I don't believe that they could suppress it to that level because the word of mouth would be getting around, and then you
but they
have,
can manufacture the other stuff, right? I
well,
mean,
yeah,
we've
you can
got
do it on both
we've
sides of the
got
coin.
so much radical information online that most viral videos should be assumed to be made for the sake of going viral, right? I mean, people make videos all the time in hopes they'll go viral. So friends get together, and have a white guy follow the black guys around and behave all racist, and there's counter propaganda, right? So there's people out there. I mean, back in the day, if you were in a religious community, let's just say, and suddenly in comes, the laws that start changing homosexuality, for instance, and you feel really strongly against it. You might call your brothers from another state and say, hey, you want to come make these guys look bad with me? I can't do it, right? Because everybody knows it's me. I can't pretend to be gay, right? But I definitely want to make sure this law does not pass in my city, right? And I'm going to do everything to protect my kids from this abhorrence, right? So,
Well,
that we have to understand that even people that are on one side of the equation will produce videos to make the other side of the equation look bad, right?
that's the
And
beauty. That's I wouldn't say beauty, but that's the disgusting side of propaganda. You can
mhm, mhm.
you
Should
can
look
get
at the
anybody
root.
to go with anything.
The root of propaganda is Latin, and it actually was first associated with the church. Um, and I'm not trying to discredit the Catholic Church, or I'm not trying to discredit anyone here. I'm not trying to point fingers at them, even though their fingers have been pointed at them. So we can look at them as a source of, harm
Well,
to
the
children,
church,
perhaps. And
the church is, depending on what church you're talking about. If we're talking about the Catholicism, they've been around a
well,
long time, and
it is an interesting one, right?
it's
They're
the
very,
root of the Roman
yeah, I know.
Empire. So,
Yeah, I
you
know.
know,
And it's a very interesting one when I think about how they've been seen to be the most, when people talk about Christians, people think they're talking about Catholics, and that's sort of the numbers they take for
well,
Christians in the world. But I mean, they
Catholics
worship
Catholics
they
have no
worship a
idea.
dying Jesus. The Catholics worship a mother and a dying Jesus. They don't actually worship the word of Jesus Christ. They're like the Hinduism of Christianity with all their saints
Well,
and if, in my opinion, okay, like, and
the
I'm not trying
Catholic
to discredit.
Church,
Yeah,
actually
I'm
the
not
Catholic
discrediting the
Church.
good. Yeah, the good Catholics that are
Well,
around us that just go to
no,
church and
that
worship God.
most Catholics are unaware of what's really happening in today's
Exactly.
Catholic Church. The Church
Yeah.
of, the Catholicism is they literally worship Lucifer as the one and only Son of God, and
Interesting. I know.
it's
Exactly.
all out there. It's not hidden. It's all in the
Well, and that's
open.
why the
And
story goes where the Romans, right? The Romans handed Jesus to the Jews, right? Like,
well,
isn't that how the story goes?
well the history of, well, not even talking about the history, but today's modern Catholic um, parishioner is, I wouldn't say oblivious. They're ignorant. Their
Well, yeah,
ignorance is
they're
bliss
yeah,
because
yeah.
they don't even, if and I've said this before on this channel, is that if you compared the Catholic clergy in and what's been happening with them as your local ice cream parlor or your Chuck E. Cheese, where everybody goes to Chuck E. Cheese on Sunday, and you send your kids off before you get there, and they're hanging out, and they're going into the back room, and bad things are happening at Chuck E. Cheese, and the manager of Chuck E. Cheese is caught with his hand in the cookie jar,
Mm-hmm.
and in the Masonic law enforcement community doesn't do anything, and then the corporation of Chuck E. Cheese sends that manager to another city to manage another Chuck E. Cheese so it can continue. How many people would stop going to Chuck E. Cheese? But people still go to Chuck E. Cheese,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
matter how many times the hand's
Yeah.
been
And
caught in
I
the cookie
agree.
jar.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah. And
so
that's
but
why I would say, yeah, that it's a good example of, how I said the thing with the Bolsheviks and the stuff. Like there's controlled opposition, right? There's controlled, there's a long game set up, right? Like the
well,
Pope wears a
it's been a plan
yeah,
for thousands of
yeah,
years, and we're just
exactly.
coming to the accumulation. It's the crux is finally
Hmm.
coming to what they want, and the deception,
Hmm.
the fakery, the technology, and their ability to pull it off, even at a much more alarming, simpler rate than they have been.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's there's nothing that anybody can do, in the grand scheme of things. Do you see anybody, 20 years ago, 25 years ago? I see commercials where, I hear it on the radio, I hear it on, I don't watch television, but if I was to turn the television on, or it's even in the YouTube ads where it says, if you've been touched by a clergy member and you can, the archdiocese, you can sue them. And sue them? What about putting these motherfuckers in cages and
Hmm.
and dealing with them with swift and equal justice of the law, where you have victims? But this is where we're at now. It's there. Let's just
Hmm.
have a little bit of hush money, and let's just kind of like just sue us. No, I don't
Yeah.
want to sue you. I want to hold you accountable, and I want to tie a rope around your neck and make you eye for an eye. You know what I'm saying? But who am I? I'm just a guy with a camera that nobody listens to. So, you know, I, I'm not in disagreement with you in any way, shape, or form. But what
Hmm.
are we going to do about it? Nobody's out there with pitchforks. Nobody's out there protesting. Nobody's going to the city council meetings. Nobody's going anywhere and demanding that this nonsense and this bullshit stop, or let's get to the bottom of it. Are there actually this amount of people missing, these children or whatnot? Nobody gives a shit in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
anything if it doesn't happen to them directly.
Well, and
It's
even
just
even socially, okay, even socially,
what
people
up,
are
caveman?
so. Pardon?
I was talking to a subscriber.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to say, even socially, um, we see that. Like where I live, there was a case where years and years ago, where a pig farmer was found to have an old pig farmer, like no longer,
Pigs and what they eat and
well, yeah, I don't, he must have had some pigs anyways, but like it's all industrialized, right? So someone who had a family who was once very important in the community, right? And now
right,
3 generations later is, probably dealing. I have no idea. Anyways, we never found out, because basically there was a man on a farm that was found to have like a skull in his freezer or something like that, right?
right,
And
right.
a bunch of pigs, and essentially they went and they sifted the dirt of this farm to find the DNA of missing women from Vancouver. And they started to find DNA of all these missing women, and they sifted the soil for months, and they found a certain number of women, and you could see all these people come out of the woodwork: my sister, my daughter, my auntie, my mommy,
Right.
and I don't mean to
Well,
be a
where
bitch
were they
about it, but I'm
before?
just
Where
saying,
were they before?
yeah,
Right.
where were they before, right? And so I was saying all along that it's just an absolute tragedy, but those women all of those families should have insisted that the money that they would be, clawing for, right, would be actually go towards helping women on the streets in Vancouver, right? Women and men, okay, women and men. Because
Yeah.
for all we know, there were men's DNA in there too, but there was just a couple, and it just didn't make the news, and it wasn't. I have no idea, right? So, um, but ultimately, like, these people came forward and they just looked so sick. They looked sick because and I know what it's like to love somebody who's in has gone in addiction, or to even meet. I live in a place where we have such a high population of homelessness, and we have like these big high rises being put up, and none of it's for them. And it's like Haiti meets Dubai. It's like, especially
Right.
during COVID, that's what it looked like. Haiti meets Dubai.
The ghost cities in China.
Yeah.
Look,
And
apparently it's just you and me talking to each other right now. But
but
I don't believe the numbers, anyways. Go ahead. I don't mean to say nothing.
yeah. So, but no, I
No,
mean,
but
I mean,
no,
this is yeah.
you never know. The propaganda, truth.
Mm-hmm,
Is it
mm-hmm.
somewhere in between, or is it not, or is
Well,
it live,
that's
or is
the
it
thing I
Memorex?
find, on YouTube especially, like, they've got these words that sort of the cult of culture have taken up, and suddenly I
Oh
remember
yeah.
4 years ago, I remember even as we were taking in the most abhorrent information we've ever seen in our lives, we had this feeling together that we could do something, right? We had this feeling together that we were learning about the world, that we were so, it was like better than ever any school I've ever been in. And the that movie, what's it called? I always get them mixed up. The fifth, the Sixth Sense. Is that the one with no?
I see
It's
dead
called the one with
people.
Lily. No, the Lily multipass Lily. With Bruce Willis. Oh,
Oh,
the
the
Fifth Element.
Fifth
Fifth
Element.
Element.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
in the Fifth Element, when Lily is like in Bruce Willis's place, where he said stay here because he's got to go do his cab stuff, and she's watching the news. She's got access to a TV screen where she can put it on fast mode and just take in all the information of history. And she's taking in all this information and she's crying, right? She's in
Kind of like
this
a
place
twist
by
on
herself
the
crying.
Minority Report type of shit.
That's how I felt in
Yeah.
2020 with less tears, because we were all doing this together. It was like awful, but like, come on, we can do this. We're together,
Well,
strong. And
you
we
know.
actually had,
Go ahead.
we had hope. We actually had hope in the most face of the worst hopelessness we've ever seen in our entire life. But
Well, yeah,
somehow this information,
that's not what I seen.
no, you didn't see hope.
5 years. No,
No, I
I
saw
seen a
hope.
bunch of people fucking giving in to what they were told, who can't
That
think
was
for
their choice,
themselves.
though. That was their choice.
Well, but
You know,
that was the majority.
Yeah, but you see people on YouTube. Look at these tribes on YouTube, right? There are people that need leadership. Everyone's like, "Oh, if the whole world woke up, the people can't wake up." There are
People don't
idiots,
want to
okay,
wake up though. Most people
well,
don't want
it's
to.
not that they don't want to. There's a subset of this society, a huge percent of this society, that cannot critically think.
Well,
And it's
that's the
not because the
NPC
program they were
syndrome.
given. It's not necessarily because the program they were given. We need to have something to hinge upon to tear apart. Thought builds on thought, right? So
Well,
we could sit there and be like, did Plato exist? Did this guy? It doesn't really matter who existed. What matters is the
no, it's
thoughts
got
that
nothing
are
to do with
presented,
anything.
right? Yeah. So
Well,
we and they can be really bad thoughts that we put in our own, really shitty philosophies that we learn, and then we mature and we're like, oh, wait a minute, that's shit. So we tear it apart and we rebuild it. But people like to imagine that children are born this blank slate, that all have the capacity to be geniuses and brilliant and artists and all these things. And if they just didn't have the program running, that everybody would be awake and everybody would be okay. And that's not the way the world works. There are a lot of people designed to not critically think. It's not because of the system. The system is actually there because and set up that way because these people can't critically think. Look at the woke people on YouTube and how easily they run in tribes and they don't think for themselves about any person they learn about. They can sit there and poke fun at one person, and yet, and then one person comes out and pokes fun at all of them, and they all of a sudden
oh, it can
band
fucking
together
blow
like,
their mind. Yeah.
yeah, and so they can't critically think, right? They don't want to. People don't
Well,
want
that
hope. People don't want it.
right. Is it Stockholm
So
syndrome? Is it, the
This
NPC
world, if
syndrome?
ever, I don't think so. I think people put too much faith in other people, thinking like, oh, I think freely. Well, we're not, if you're running a program, like people are running everybody's running a program, right? Like you can take a program and tear it apart and rebuild it for yourself, but you're still running a program. Like when I was in university and I had to share my economics classes with these, because we were the center of the social sciences at the time. Everybody in social sciences had to take an economics class. So in any economics class you were in, like economics had the environmentalists in it, right? And you could start to see the people in your classes that were forced to take economics. They didn't want to take economics because they were at the front of the room being like, but Marxists and but Carl and Lenin and whatever the fuck, like, oh, but the pollution, tradable pollution permits, but that doesn't solve the problem. And but you could see this rebel program running, right? Like you could actually sit in the room and smell the patchouli
Yeah.
and be like, I know what you're going to say, right? Like I know what you're going to say. So people like to think that without the education system or without the way our parents were brought up or without whatever you want to blame something in the past, that if then we would just have all these wonderful open-minded people in the world to be our friends.
Well, that's just the. I would just say that's just a crock of shit that people have been sold, and they're stirring it, and then they keep pulling the spoon out, licking that shit spick. You know what I mean? The the world is what they've created, and those who want that world are willing to accept it for what it is. They're not willing to think
So
outside the box and to
so
be a
can
free
we
thinker
accept?
and to be a
Yeah.
solo adventurer and take
Or
their
can we accept if they want their
existence in
world
their own
that way?
hands.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
But
they
if
want
they
it
put,
because
yeah,
most people can't handle living on their own. Most people need to be controlled.
yeah.
Most people need somebody to think for them. Most people, the majority of people, have zero ability to stand on their own. They need, for an example, they need a man with a gun to protect them so they can run around and fucking harass people and do the
Hmm.
shit that they want to do and act like an asshole all over the place. But then when they get a little bit fucking back at them, they go like, "Oh, Big Daddy, protect me from the bad man, the bad apple," And I sit there and I
Hmm.
laugh at these motherfuckers,
Hmm.
that I myself, I think that the world would be a better place without law enforcement and that
Hmm.
the society police itself, and there wouldn't be a bunch of assholes running around fucking acting like assholes,
Hmm.
and that would be the end of it.
Hmm.
Because if my next door neighbor, just for an example, when it comes to domestic violence, if I'm
Yeah.
sitting here in my house and I hear my it doesn't matter whether it's a man or a woman committing the act of violence against the other one, well, I'd
Yeah.
be like, "Yo, Bob, that fuckhead's doing some shit." So me and Bob go over and beat the fuck out of the next door neighbor who's fucking getting out of line with his old lady. Or I say, "Hey, baby, get Peggy from next door and go over and whoop that bitch's ass.
Yeah.
Show her what's up." Guess how many
Yeah.
people would stop acting like a fucking asshole instantaneously?
Yeah. My
How many
friend in
people would
Ethiopia.
stop acting like fucking assholes in
Yeah.
society instantaneously? Because I live by the philosophy, and there's very few people that live by the philosophy. Is that most people think that they can say what the fuck they want, when they want, how they want, until they get punched square in their fucking mouth,
Yeah.
and
I
then
do
then they'll
agree
shut
that.
up real quick.
Yeah. I do
And if
agree
you
that
and
there
if you
was.
think
Yeah.
that you can get away with doing the dumb shit that you do, and most people would be like, this shit, right? You stop
Yeah.
doing this shit and be like, "Motherfucker," grab him by the neck and go like this, and then guess what? They won't do it no more.
Yeah. It's true.
That'd be the end of the fucking bullshit, right on the rip. But
Yeah.
most people are fucking cowards who want to hide. They want to get behind their little blanket and their safe space and their puppy, and they want to run around fucking screaming and hollering at everybody else about how they need to behave, but can't smell the shit on their own fucking knees.
I have a friend his father was a diplomat from
Hold
Ethiopia,
on, hold on,
right?
hold on one
And
second.
yeah,
Hold on one second.
thanks.
You're listening to Bex. She's famous or infamous, however she prefers. She's a panelist that is part of I don't know, what would you call it, the truther community. of
I
sorts,
did
or I
come
don't, I don't
into the drama panel stuff
the,
through the Trutherverse. Yes,
okay,
to the Dramaverse through the Trutherverse,
right.
through the Truthosphere.
The
Um,
I call it the drama zone. That's what
yeah,
I call it.
yeah,
But no, there's
but
some people that
and
are mixed up in it. Some people are decent, like her. I
well,
appreciate you
I
coming in
came out
here
with
and
some of
having the
you guys. Yeah,
courage, to come in here and talk to
yeah.
me, because I'm hated by pretty much everybody in all genres on YouTube, because I'm a man who speaks the truth, and there's no more of a hated man than he who speaks the truth.
Mhm.
And even though amongst
Well,
people who claim they're truthers, that's kind of ironic, right?
I
So,
can tell. Well, I appreciate that you're capable of critical thinking and willing to hear me out on my sort of middle path. Kind of, let's try and sort through this and at least get the numbers right and try and figure out how we can verify and what might be happening if there is a boogeyman story in the front. Then what might be really happening could be worse, could be more nefarious than we think. Right?
yeah,
It
you
could be
don't know.
actually like. It could
Yeah.
be underground breeding camps for all we know. Like I'm just saying, it could be worse. It could be people
Well,
who
yeah.
babies that were taken and taken into lives of sheer torture, right? Like, and
Well,
they're alive instead, and they're being tortured their whole lives. Like, I have no idea, you know. So again, I'm
it's a
not trying to
possibility.
even,
We don't know
yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like sell like just straight up frou hope with because
There,
it's also unfounded, right? Like, I
there's
have no
right.
proof of what I'm saying, so
There's a
you
lot
know,
of underground
but
conversation. There's a lot of people out
yeah,
there that say, "Oh, yeah, I was part of a breeding program where I've had X amount of babies, and they were all taken from me, and then
but
so
maybe it's so
those
good, like yeah,
I don't know. It's
yeah,
possible.
it could be so good that it's actually like so well secured. I mean, so well done that it's like whatever that movie is, The Island, only like not a nice life until someone harvests an organ from you, like a bad life until
Right.
you know.
Well, you could. Anything's possible, but
Yeah,
I know for sure that history is not as we've been told. No matter what anybody believes, you could look it up. I follow a channel, and I'll call it out. It's my lunch break, and I started watching it in its infancy, when it had not many subscribers, and it was one of those channels where people, either you're interested, or you'd be like, "Oh, that's cockamamie, that's bullshit. You watch that, you're out of your goddamn mind." But I tell people, hey, use your critical thinking skills. Put on your tinfoil hat, or whatever you want to do. But how about I always tell people, or I don't tell them and force them. I say, you do whatever you want to do. That's why God, my Creator, your Creator, gave us all free will. How you use it is up to you. How I use it is that if I'm taught something that I've been indoctrinated with, or brainwashed, whatever word you want to use, and I want to learn something, the possibility of something else being the truth and not what I've been told, I have to start from scratch. I have to, okay, I've been taught this, but I'm going to set that aside and look at it
yeah,
in an open mind and get into a neutral standpoint and try and look at both sides. It's like being in a bad relationship, and you
yeah,
go in and seeing a therapist, and the therapist is saying, okay, I know you're used to banging that chick, and she really knows how to, whatever, and you guys, and it's one of those really tumultuous, toxic relationships, and you want to figure out what's up. A therapist will say, get it just simple, experiment, or get a piece of paper and a pen, 2 columns, the pros and the cons, and
mhm,
write down what you like about that person and what you don't like about that person. And if your pros are full of, like, materialistic things, or nothing of substance, and the cons is, if you're, and I've done this experiment, I guess you could say, where I'm like, okay, what do I like about this chick? Oh, she's hot. Oh, she knows how to bump uglies, and then it go on and on and on. And then on this side is like, she's lazy, she doesn't take care of business, and then so you look at the list after you put it down on paper, and you're like, fuck, why am I even with this person? And that's the point of the exercise, is getting you to see it from a different perspective. So I like to see things from a neutral standpoint, no matter what. for an example, we all went to public school. We were all taught the same, science, the theory of, evolution and the Big Bang and whatnot. And no matter what I've been taught, I believe that, God makes us all and he gives us our intelligence that's natural. It's not something that can be learned,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yeah.
It's either you're intelligent or you're not. And depending on the level of intelligence is, variations thereof. But when it comes to heliocentric versus the geocentric model, I've always known that something just ain't right about this heliocentric model that I've been told. And I've been a stargazer all of my life, from the earliest ages, laying in the grass as, little kid, 3-4 years old. I have memories back to when I was a year and a half old. And the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, and we would point it out, and nothing ever fucking changes, but we're on a ball zipping through space. So, whatever. I get deep into why I had the back of my mind. I was thinking, I don't know, man, maybe there's something ain't right. So, in my adult life, I'm like, I think that I might probably want to expand my horizons and look at things from a different perspective, just to see if somebody's been lying. Because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're my buddy and you lied to me. Me and we're going to have a problem. If you're somebody of authority and you're lying to me, we're going to have a problem. If you're way up there and you're lying to me, we're going to have a problem. So I don't want to have problems, If somebody steals my
And there's
they should pizza when they French fry, and I want a pizza when they want, So I looked into the flat Earth, and I was like, man, no way. So, but then what it brought me to finally come to the realization that I personally believe, and people can call me whatever you want, and there's I don't give two shits what anybody else thinks about what I believe. Excuse me. I've come to the conclusion that I don't know where we are, but we're definitely not on a spinning fucking ball in a heliocentric fucking model zipping through fucking space.
Yeah.
And from what I've come to the realization is that we're either on a flat plane or in a dimension, and it's not what we believe it to have been. And what that has brought me is a lot of peace. And it's brought me to the knowing that if we are where I believe we are, and my all natural God has the ability to have created this realm, to however, whether it was from the beginning and and then there was light or whatnot. I don't know. I don't have all those answers, but I know that in my heart we're not on a spinning fucking ball. And people go, "You're fucking crazy. You're a flat earther." Whatever. I don't give a fuck what you think. You haven't looked into it.
Religious man, right? You're a religious man. That's why you've got this.
I'm not religious per se. I'm more spiritual. I don't believe in my religious would go as far as brotherhood and fellowship with like-minded individuals, but going to a place where a bunch of sinners and backsliders and lukewarm Christians hang out is not for me.
Yeah.
So,
because here was my thing on shape. I really was a idiot savant mathematician as a child, like smarter than I am now at math. And if I'd been steered in the right, if I'd been steered in the right direction, I would have. And I'm not saying like
and held in that direction and said, "Focus, young lady, focus."
It really could have taken off. Now I did use it. My background is in theoretical econometrics, so I have a master's degree with very applied statistical theory.
Right.
So I definitely did go in the math direction, but most mathemaicians
Occam's razor, baby. Occam's razor.
Yeah. I mean, it is the most bullshitty math of all math is statistics, right? Like it really is. There's a lot of error.
For some part, in some degree, it's bullshit. Really, in others, you're like, well, that's got to be statistically correct.
Well, it's just I'm just saying, but even in sample sizes, basically the central limit theorem says that a sample size of 25 is enough to infer anything out to infinity. So sometimes you might want to look into the data you've been given, because
Right.
25 is
Yeah.
pretty small, right? Like,
Yeah.
but and then when you get into
But
economic
infinity.
data and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah, yeah. And
Well, right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
I'm bullshitting. I mean, I'm not bullshitting. I'm simplifying quite a bit there. It's all about
You're
regressional and
taking it. You're
running a
taking a
regression.
huge. You're taking a
Yeah,
huge and
yeah,
simplifying it. Yeah.
yeah, and making it. Yeah, it has to do with running regressions specifically. When you're running regressions, y equals a function of x, a bunch of x's, whatever it
Right.
is, plus an error on the end. That the variation. That actually, I'm talking about the standard. Nothing. Forget it. It's been a long time. I didn't apply
It's
any
all
of
right.
it. So,
Well,
but
we
essentially,
agree
the
that
central limit
statistics
theorem.
have
Yeah.
the possibility to be accurate, and some statistics have
Well,
the
and
ability to be
people can
a
also
crock of shit.
yeah, people can also, correlation does not imply causation is a great thing.
Right.
So people,
Exactly.
people with really high intelligence, they like to, we like to think we're not gullible.
Well,
But
that's not
actually
true.
there's no,
Right.
there is no, there's no
There's no
perfectly
specified
inverse.
theorem.
Yeah, there's no inverse relationship between like, I'm so smart I can't be like hoodwinked or whatever, right?
Oh, you mean
But
that somebody has a degree, a bachelor of science degree, doesn't make them smarter than somebody who's naturally intelligent? Their learned
exactly. Yeah,
indoctrination makes them believe that they're much more intelligent than the average person who.
true. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then even let's just say you did have proof. Let's just say you've always been the top of your class. You could do anything. You do the best of everything, and that means that you think that you're so good at critical thinking that you can't be like
You can't be
tricked,
convinced that you're
right?
not as good
Yeah.
as
So, and
a thinker than
that's
you
one
are.
of the most,
Yeah.
that's one of the most dangerous part of having a high intelligence, right? Is being like, I'm always right. I'm always right. I'm always right.
Well, to me,
And
that's not an intelligent individual.
yeah, it's
Not at
true.
all.
With the shape
Well,
debate stuff,
yeah.
I also, I had critical, so I had questions. Well, the first time it was presented to me, I had symmetrical questions of elementary school teachers that weren't as bright as me, right? They wouldn't have had the answers anyway, but because they didn't have the answers, right? I was like, this is fucked,
Always
right? Like this,
seeking
well,
the answers
'cause
that they couldn't provide.
if I was the teacher, I'd turn the globe around and be like, oh, up here is where the sun, in the winter time, doesn't go, goes below the horizon, but it's light all the time. So where in this, I would say, where I did ask, where in the south does it do that? Right now, we've heard the final experiment has the sun in the sky 24 hours. Well, in the north, it doesn't, right? So anyways, doesn't matter to me,
Well,
right?
it's very. The Book of Enoch explains the
That's why I
flat
thought,
Earth theory.
well, when they went down there and they saw the 24-hour sun, I'm like, that should prove flat, not round. So just
Well, it's not
just zipping
down
it,
though.
not, yeah. So
It's in the
anyways, I don't even
center.
want to get in. Yeah,
Yeah.
so exactly. So I don't even want to get into it because I've never been a flat earther on YouTube. I've never followed any of it. I only know people that poke fun of it. And yet I
Well,
myself,
yeah.
not poke fun of it, poke fun at the final experiment, poke fun at it all, right? Because shape debate is a waste of time because I'm more with you on this. I knew something's wrong with this model. I looked into other models. I've been pondering this since I was 11, 12 years old. And I never knew that other people questioned it. So I was so grateful to find out that people questioned it. But here's the thing throughout my life when I would say, if it ever came up, which I never ever really did, but, with the odd person, you'd be close enough to be like, do you think it's round, And what makes you think that you can believe that, right? I'd have friends say when they found out I'd question
a
anything, they would say,
basketball is round and a frisbee is round.
true, exactly, right? So I would say to them, they would say, "What do you believe it's flat?" And for me, I can't have a belief in something that is okay. Like it's 2 + 2 is 4. I don't believe that 2 + 2 is 4. I know 2 + 2 is 4. Like I don't
Right.
believe in a triangle. I don't believe in a triangle. A triangle is a triangle. So
Well,
I
maybe a
have
triangle
no.
isn't a triangle. Maybe a triangle is a trapezoid, and a trapezoid's a triangle.
True, right? But whatever it is, it's a three-sided object, right? It's a three-sided object. So to me, the earth, the shape of the earth is what it is. It is what it is. To me, faith and belief is about God and spirituality. Like it's about the unprovable, right?
Well,
Like, I
yeah.
don't believe or have faith. Do you believe the earth is round? That's like do you
No, I
believe
don't
the
believe
math that
it. I
supports the
know.
theory, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
I don't
I have a
believe
feeling
that.
though.
I know
So
we're not on a heliocentric model. I don't believe it. I know it.
exactly. And that's the thing that I think that, people waste a lot of time filling their head with facts where they're like, I believe something, I believe it, I feel it, I think it, you know,
Yeah,
instead of
it's not a
knowing.
factual.
It's
It's not based on factual. You know,
Have you ever looked
it's.
into
I think we're. No, it's not thinking. It's not nothing. It's either you accept it or you don't accept it.
hmm
And
hmm
and accepting it is saying I know, and not accepting it says I believe that it's going to be something else.
hmm
So, what were you going to say?
wait, I was going to say, have you ever heard of intellectual honesty?
Well,
Like
yeah, that's
in
yeah.
terms of it, because I was, when I came out here first, was doing live streams, and then people coming at me and blah, 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 and screaming about integrity and intellectual honesty. I went looking into it, and I started looking at how people come up with truths, different ways that people come up with truths. A lot of truths in society are agreed upon, and it's
Well,
because
yeah,
we've gone through. Yeah,
it's
we've
the
gone
mass
through and we've tossed
psychosis.
out. Yeah, we've tossed out. Sometimes what comes to the truth is tossing out all the things that are false, right? And what's left over is what we agree to be true. And
But
sometimes,
that doesn't mean it's
that's not
accurate.
right.
Right.
Exactly, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes that's the best we can do. Imagine a family fight, right? A family fight, whatever big scene happens, and everybody has their own perspective, and the family comes together to talk after, and we're all like, ha 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 ha, that never happens, right? Anyways, I'm just sweep it under the
Well, yeah,
rug and move on.
yeah,
But let's just
that's
say, like, the family comes together and everyone shares their perspectives of what happened, right? And now everybody, this is later when we're not as charged and our memories have settled, and everyone's going to have their own perspective of what happened. And if we're actually a healthy family, I mean, this is kind of the wrong analogy. It'd probably be better in a workplace environment than a family,
well, you
you
could put
know?
it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you're looking for a good scenario to do that, you could say, like an eyewitness account of what happened. You could, they've done plenty of studies where
Yeah,
a classroom and a professor
exactly.
sets
That's a
up a
better, yeah.
situation where a class, all the students are in a classroom and somebody comes in and pretends to rob the teacher and do something real crazy and then leave, and then everybody's write down what you've seen and what you heard and what you know about what just occurred, and you'll have 800 different fucking stories from 700 different people.
hmm
So I think that's
Yeah,
what you were
exactly,
getting at,
exactly. So
right?
that is the better analogy. So if we were looking at these eyewitness accounts, right, of something that had happened, and instead of this fight that we're talking about, everybody saw something happen. Now they're trying to figure out what actually happened. Everybody's accounts are different. Now we're actually going to start taking away things that we know that aren't true, right? Like, oh,
The simple deductions.
yeah, yeah, the victim was not wearing a pink shirt, right? Like
Well,
whatever
he
the
was
thing
wearing
is.
shoes because his feet would have slipped on the wet floor.
Yes, exactly, right?
Right?
And
Yeah.
so, in essence, like sometimes some of the things that we've come to understand to be true and that were even taught to us, that's how they came to those things, and people just ran with it, right? Like I like to believe that in
Well,
essence a
whatever
lot of
makes them comfortable, though.
the uh
The
the
story they
ruling class
believe.
of this world has used technology for a long time to like rolled it out ahead of, if it hasn't always been around, then they rolled it
Oh,
out to us way later than they had it.
it's been around a long time. Technology.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah,
that if you know anything about the melted um, cities and things of that nature, that
yeah,
a lot of most people would sit there and go, "What are you talking about? Melted cities, like directed energy weapons, man. They've melted cities.
yeah. Or it's
Mountains.
happened more recently.
People think mountains are mountains, but mountains aren't necessarily mountains. They could be giants that are laying down, and it's just there's a lot of Turtle
No,
Island, if you know anything about
yeah,
way
I
back in the
do.
day, and like my lunch break, for example. There's an episode in there where he comes in from a satellite view, and essentially it's saying that there was a giant alligator or a crocodile or a lizard or whatnot or dragon possibly that is we're all on the back of a giant crocodile, you know,
Hmm.
or dragons or
Yep.
mountains, and there's so many things that the evidence is there
You
if you
know,
can if you
when they
see
talk
it,
about
but we don't know. We don't have no
mhm,
idea. We could
when
be,
they talk
you know, in
about
the
Turtle
grand scheme of
Island,
things, we could be a little speck on, you know. I seen. No, hold that thought. I
yep.
seen something today on flat Earth, which I don't go on Facebook much anymore, and I haven't been on there a lot because it's nothing but a cesspool of bullshit, and it's like a trap to get you to whatever. But so I seen this post um, about flat Earth, and it was a what if that somebody said, you know what, I've been searching, you know, information on flat Earth for a long time, and what if? So there was a drawing, and which it made my mind say, wow, wait a minute, that is pretty interesting. It gets my mind thinking because I'm always looking for information and the possibilities, the what if, the what if, the what if, what abouts, and the what if, the isms, you know. And it was, say, like a retina, like a retina, and then look like you would take your eye and you would stretch it out, and then the lens in the eye would
Hmm.
be the land, and the the eyeball would, you know, would be the
Was
dome.
it
And
was it London McLovin or KJV?
I don't, you know, Terry Eichler's a dickhead. I know Terry Eichert.
Mm.
We were friends.
Well,
I'm talking to
so it
Tony.
wasn't the yeah.
He's a fucking
Interesting because I
arrogant
haven't.
prick. But anyways, yeah, it was. I could probably pull it up right now. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't comment because it was chock full of ball believers, and it's almost as if, you know, if you don't accept or you don't understand the flat Earth, you know, or I don't call it flat Earth. I call it the geocentric model. If you don't believe in or understand, not believe in, if you don't understand and comprehend the geocentric model, everything that goes against your heliocentric model is gobbledygook and nonsense, and you're a crazy, whacked out idiot. Well, once you go flat, you never go back, and then you can say, you know what? I was just like you, and I believed everything that you believe, and I thought I believed it, and I thought I knew it, but I don't know it because now I don't believe that way. So
Hmm.
you know, it's just the prime example of having an open mind and accepting um, differing, you know, information. I'm I'm like a human sponge. I want as much information as I can get. It's like, you know, the beginning of the song,
Yeah.
information. I want
Hmm.
information. You know, and so, anyways, the the drawing that I seen kind of blew my mind, and it's like, holy shit. And then and I thought to myself, like, what if we're just the we're in it's God's eye, and that we're just in His eye, His vision, and we're all just an illusion in God's eye, you know, or whatnot. There's just many things that went through my mind, and then I was reading some comments, and a lot of it was, "Oh, you're nuts." But when you found a few of the comments and the needles in the haystack, so to speak, you know, the same couple of people were saying the same thing, like, you know, what if it's, you know, that's God's eye, and that we're just, and I was like, wow, you know, that, see, now my great minds think alike, maybe, I don't know, but it was a trip, you know. But anyways, yeah.
No, there's one of the actually the first channel I ever went on a panel with. Uh,
I agree,
he
Tony.
does eyeball Earth stuff like eyeball Earth.
Right,
Uh,
like Eric Dubay is a good place.
so
There used
yeah.
to be Rob Skubik. Oh, what the hell was his name? He died. Eric DeBay. Terry Eichert's a good one. He does a lot of experimentation, and he shows, you know, what it is. But I've, you know, let's say, like, situations when it comes to the truth and the propaganda that's shown to us, and you're only going to believe what you want to believe, and if you don't believe it, you're going to have to do a little research. For an example, Sandy Hook. Um, did it happen? I don't know. I wasn't there. But what information that I looked into tends to make me believe that it was all just a psychological operation, and, you know, a false flag situation. You know, and because the FBI isn't involved in the deep state's false flag bullshit, to the CIA, whatever. So the FBI has to maintain and keep accurate records of what happens, and you could, or you probably still can. It would take a minute to find it, but I did find it a little easier at the time. The statistics that they kept, getting back to your statistical nightmare that you got away from. There's every city in the United States, the FBI keeps records of a murder. If there was a murder in
Yeah.
that town, no matter how it was conducted, whether it was some crazy guy with a vehicle, a hammer, or a screwdriver, or a gun, a fire that was ruled a murder,
Yeah.
whatever. There's a record of it. And after Sandy Hook and Newtown, Connecticut, there were no murders
No
recorded
record.
by the FBI. And not only that, but I looked into the tax records of homes all around Sandy Hook for at least within a mile. I looked 20, 30, 40, 50 homes up because I was told that many of the homes surrounding the school were paid off. Like huge numbers, like 400, 200,
Yeah.
300, 500, $1 million homes, because it's
Yeah.
variation of homes. And they were all paid off on Christmas Day. Well, what bank or government offices are open on Christmas Day? So,
Interesting.
but that's Sandy Hook, So the information that's out there,
Was it a Saturday?
I'm not sure. You could look up 2013 Christmas Day, and that was the
I'm gonna
day.
look up for a second.
It was Christmas Day, I believe, 2013. It might have been 2012. Can't remember when Sandy Hook happened on 12 or
I'll look it
13. But you could get back to how could they get away with doing that? But then being a truther that I am, the 1945 they had a law called the Smith-Mundt Act, which prohibited the United States from creating propaganda and use it against the people in this country, but they could use it around the world. And then Obama, and he crammed a bill in there with the National Defense Spending Law, or the National Defense Spending Bill, crammed in the law, called it the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, where now it took away that the prohibiting of using propaganda, and the first big, huge act was Sandy Hook. So there's a lot of things that have happened, with not false flag, but crisis actors. This one was seen here, that one was seen there. But I don't need to do that. I was sitting, in a hospital bed with, before, I'll take it back. I had to get open heart surgery for a genetic defect in the heart. I had a valve replaced at 49 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when my life changed, exponentially when it comes to my veil being lifted, so to speak. I didn't want to get surgery, not because I was afraid, whatever. I was just like, fuck, my life's been so fucked up. It's been bullshit, and I've been searching for that meaning in life, and I could never figure it out. And I, was convinced by a family member to go along with surgery. And I said, what? I said, I'll consider it. And then so I began to pray and pray. And, I've been through a lot of things in my life. And most people, I'll take it back a little bit before the contemplating the surgery and figuring it out. I went to prison in 2002, and most people seek God or their higher power while they're in prison as somewhat, I call it, as a crutch, because they weren't strong enough to stay out of the shit when they're in the streets, and they get to the prison, and they can suddenly become real religious and blah blah blah. But then when they leave, they get back to their same shit. And I told myself that I wasn't going to fall into that trap and become a Bible thumper when I was in church. And I said, what, if I did this alone before I got to prison, I'm not going to use God as a crutch. I want God and Jesus, my Lord and Savior, to enter into my life when the time is right, not when they're a crutch. You know what I mean? I want to allow it to happen when it's right for me. So, right before I had surgery, I said, what? This is probably a good time to allow God, if, God wants me to be here and whatnot, show me some signs. Talk to me. Show me some signs, because I know that God's been right here, not the devil, not, you know what I'm saying? They've been here all along, and I've just ignored them. And Yeah, the astronauts, 7 astronauts are still alive there, Bex. But the the belief that there's something out there. I personally seen what I would say, and anybody would say was Jesus when I was 12 years old, and he come and blessed me with the Holy Spirit. And you know, I could tell that story, but it's not part of this
It
conversation.
happened to me in the incubator, so
Well,
I'm good.
that's cool. So we can talk about it another time. So I wanted to have these signs, and I had so many signs coming to me. It was an overwhelming sense of, there's a reason why God wants me to stay here, no matter what if am I narrowing it down to this? No, I don't think I'll ever be able to narrow it down to this per se. So, taking it to the morning before my surgery, I was sitting there waiting to get called back, and my sister, gave me a ride to the hospital. She was with me, and I was just sitting there, and I've always had this sixth sense, this ability to see things that most people can't see, and have a knowledge that most people don't have. And I just had an overwhelming feeling that something bad was going to happen, and that I could not literally see it, but I sensed and knew some faded pictures of people being murdered, and I didn't know what it was, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm thinking in my head, God, what is this? What are you showing me? And it was just basically, I had the feeling that it'll all make sense soon enough, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So my sister looked at me and she's like, what's the matter? You look really weird, or like look really worried. And I'm like, oh, I just have a bad feeling. And she thought I was talking about me. And she goes, what, you think that, you're not going to make it through this or whatever? And I'm like, no, it's not me. I'm not worried about me. I'm okay. I just had this bad feeling and just overwhelming sense of something bad's going to happen. And so she's like, okay. She go, what is it? And I'm like, I don't know. So anyways, I go back and, they give me the drugs, and 99, 98, 97, I'm out, right? And I don't remember anything from 97 until I woke up, which was about 6 hours, 5, 6 hours. And I woke up, in the hospital bed, strapped down, because they strap your arms down, because most people's instinct is to pull the ventilator tube out. And so they keep you from doing that. And I woke up, and my sister was standing there. Two of my sisters were standing on one side, and they were, you okay? You all right? You awake? Oh, you're right. Okay, all right. Yeah, hey, you're back. Hi, like that, right? And I looked at them, and I'm like, all right, cool. I made it. I'm through it. And then I'm laying there, and I looked up. There was a TV on the wall, and as soon as I seen the TV, I knew exactly what I was seeing before I went into surgery. I had surgery on February 14th, 2018, which was the day that Nicholas Cruz was allegedly a mass shooter at Parkland School down in Florida. And it was all over the news. And that's what I knew that I was seeing when I seen that. And I was hooked up to the monitor and whatever and ever. And, before that, when my sisters woke me up, it was going doot doot, doot doot, doot doot. Regular heartbeat. And as soon as I seen that, it went fucking nuts, because I was like, I was just like, the overwhelming sense of, I don't know what it was. It was just like, oh my God, that's what it is. And it was like, my sisters are freaking out, and they're like, my sister ran away to get the nurse, and it's giving me chills right now to even think about it. Because they didn't know what was going on. I couldn't talk. And I was just, they thought that I woke up and my heart was ready to blow up, right? Well, it was me realizing that God was telling me what was going to happen. I sat there and watched, not sat there, but I was in that hospital for 8 days, and I watched every bit of that shit. I was in a hospital with 2 beds. There was nobody in the other bed, and I had both TVs, my laptop, a cell phone, and just information overload.
Yep.
And Nicholas Cruz didn't do that. It was deep state CIA bullshit. It was false flag, psychological operation. Mm-hmm. Neither here nor there, and I don't care if anybody says, you're a fucking idiot, man, I know it, you're a dumb fuck. Okay, well, I'm a dumb fuck, and you're not, and okay, cool. But, so, I've been able to see things, know things. Matter of fact, I was in the hospital, 8 days. My mom had passed away 4 months earlier, and her husband, which, was 30 years in our lives, right? married my mom when I was 18. I was 49. So, he was all right. He'd been around. And so my mom passed away. He went to Texas to spend time with his family for the winter. And my sister, was coming to pick me up to take me home. And she's sitting in front of me. I'm having a hard time moving around because I fucking just had my chest cracked open and shit. And, but I'm
Ouch.
fine. And she says,
Yeah.
she goes, got to tell you something before we go, before we leave. I just want to tell you something. And I'm like, well, what's up? And she goes, it's, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to upset you. And I'm like, what? And she says, it's about my mom's. She says his name. And I
Yeah.
said, oh, well, yeah, he passed away. And she's like, who told you? And I said, what do you mean? I said, he told me. And she's like, what do you
Mm.
mean he told you? And my sister has always doubted me when I tell her that I know
Mm-hmm.
things. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, he told me. He came and visited me, and he told me that he came and said goodbye, and told me this. We had a conversation, and she's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Oh." And the only two people only three people
Mm-hmm.
that knew that came to visit me in the hospital was my two sisters and my brother. And my brother only came to visit me one time because he lives far away.
You have
And
a
so
big
my other,
family.
well, a huge family. So then my
Yeah,
two
me too.
sisters never, the one, they said, don't tell him, get him upset. And the other one said, oh, of course I won't tell him. I won't get him upset. So then my sister that's the closest to me, she's like, damn it, she told you. And I'm like, nobody told me. so,
Yeah,
so she did, then after that, she was like, all right, I'll never doubt you again, you know? So then,
that's neat.
so anyways, and then a lot
Did
of
you?
people say that it's of the devil to know this, and I'm like, no,
Uh,
you're not going to tell me that what I can
yeah,
know and sense
your
and feel
stepfather
is not of the
essentially coming
devil.
to say goodbye, and you
Right.
being aware that he's passed.
Right.
I was going to
So
ask you, did that happen often? Like, I assume that these kinds of psychic events, we'll call them, can happen when you're awake. But did that particular do you think did that happen while you were sleeping, or were you sort of in a kind of relaxed and sleeping state in the
mo-
hospital the whole time, so it couldn't really
my
tell because you're,
my my moments, because it's not the only time I've had a lot of friends that have died and
mhm,
anyways come and say goodbye to me and whatnot.
mhm.
Those moments where I'm visited is usually while I'm sleeping
Yeah, I
in
only asked
dreams.
because my super
I
fan,
think
who
it's
I
a
like,
dream.
well, I only asked because my super fan, who I like to call my puppet, is a real boy, because it's just so easy to trigger. Like I'll put a little wispy little picture of a little pencil drawing avatar up, and oh, look at her, she wants to be skinny, extra large, and like I can't do anything without being totally triggered,
Right.
without him totally
Yeah.
being triggered. But he actually does talk about a shared death experience. He calls it a shared death experience because uh, that he had with his mother when she was in in hospice, right? So he was
Right.
at her side the whole time, but he also talks about having knowing, and so I know people would be like, you're really saying this stuff about this guy, but I'm just saying, yeah, I can see the best in people, right? Like I can spend hundreds of hours talking to someone and still, even though they've said my name 10,000 times or more, literally, and everyone's like, oh, he's okay. I'm like, well, whatever. I
Right.
can still, talk about his experiences that, and share them with people that, you know, to not that you need the validation, but maybe the people in the audience do, because he said that he was at her side while the whole time while she was, you knew she was on her way out, right? And she'd been really sick for a long time, and he'd fallen asleep, and he had a goodbye, moment with his mom, and when he woke up, she was gone, right? So,
Right.
he also had he calls it a shared death experience, mostly because he was there, and he wanted to be there to hold her hand, but he ended up being there to, yes, hold her hand, but not in the way that he thought he would be, right?
Right.
Like, watching someone expire rather than laying, sleeping beside them and being said goodbye. I mean, it's a much more beautiful, peaceful event for
Right.
both parties, like, so yeah, I think
Well,
that's really neat that you've had
the
enough of them to like validate for someone
well,
who looks crazy out here. He
I've
really
I've
does look crazy. So,
I've had
um,
I've had the ability to, um, I won't call it ability. It kind of creeps me out because I have a hard time accepting my, I wouldn't say, my ability to see the future, but it's my ability to know. I've been right many many times, and I've regretted it that I know that somebody's gonna pass, you know,
Hmm.
out of the blue, and like if somebody communicates with me, I'm like, that I just get a real feeling that something's wrong with them and they're gonna pass away,
Hmm.
or whatnot, and it's happened a lot, and recently I had a friend actually, a couple of my subscribers here, my mods, Tony and Lynette, they were probably here when my last buddy passed away from cancer. He was
Hmm.
a good friend's little brother who had stage 4 cancer, and he was hopeful that he was going to get an alternative treatment and stuff like that, and I knew from the moment that I heard from another friend when we were traveling with work doing some other stuff. He goes, yeah. He goes, we're just in general conversation. Something about Tommy's got cancer, and I'm like, Tommy, Tommy who? And he was like, what do you mean Tommy who? You know who? And I'm like, and so he tells me, and I'm like, I didn't know he had cancer. What the hell? We would just, like, most people, you won't know, but some of the viewers in here, a friend of mine, committed, one of my best friends from childhood, 13 years old when we first met. He he jumped in front of a train last June, and
I'm sorry
you
to
know,
hear that.
yeah, it's yeah, me too. It's kind of like when my same buddy that I was with, he was telling me, I said, hey, how's, because I know that he was, my buddy and him, my buddy was giving my friend, some work, this other work that he, because I'm into a lot of things, but my buddy was like, yeah, Matt's working with me. And, during the day in my other gigs, and I'm like, oh, really cool. How's he doing? Because he's, drinks a lot. And I'm like, I said, you let him work with you while he's drinking? Is he, is everything working? He's like, no, we got an agreement that he can have one beer in the morning and one beer in the afternoon, a 22 ounce, and he knows it because he's the one buying the beer for him, right? And I said, okay, as long as you keep it under control, he's maintaining. He's like, yeah, he's doing good. And then, so my buddy Matt, me and him have grown apart because of his drinking and his behavior, and he would avoid me because he knows that I don't approve of his drinking, and we don't get along when he's drunk. I'm sober, love him like a brother. Drunk, best he doesn't come around, right? So I would talk to my buddy, and I'd be like, "So how's Matt doing?" And he's like, "Oh, he's doing good, man." I go tell him I said hello. Tell him to call me whenever he wants to, but tell him to call me when he's drunk. And he goes, so he laughed, and he goes, "All right, I'll tell him." So then one day we were driving, and my buddy was just kind of like upset, and I'm like, "What's the matter, bro? You seem bummed out." And he goes, "I am." And I'm like, "About what?" And he goes, "I didn't want to tell you, but Matt checked himself into a hospital." And I said, "Mental hospital?" He's like, "Yeah." No, I was thinking, hopefully it was treatment. And he goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Fuck." And he goes, "Yeah." I said the same thing. And me and my buddy, we've seen, my buddy's had one of our friends blow his head off right in front of him. Okay.
Hmm.
So um, I said, that he's going to kill himself, right? And he goes, "Yeah, I know." And I said, "I'm surprised he hasn't done it yet." I said, "But it's just a matter of time." I said, "That day is going to come." And he's like, "I know." So, anyways, that I could go on and on and on about friends, doing themselves
Hmm.
and making themselves
I'm sorry.
disappear, and it is what it is,
Yeah.
and the good Lord, I believe the intuition is that tells me to, communicate with and let these people know that you love them, let them know that they're not alone, and I
Hmm.
would always say, you know what, man, Jesus loves you, brother, God loves you too, man, maybe you should consider, talking and whatnot, and it's hard to know that I believe that God is a forgiving God, and that when somebody's a tortured soul for whatever reason, I believe that my Lord and Savior and God Almighty would never turn their back on them when it comes to, the eternity, their eternal life, and they would
Mm-hmm.
never be damned to, you know eternal darkness for, taking their own life. So there's a lot of things that, people don't understand me and my views and why my walls are put up against, especially fucking people on the internet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I hate to say it and even bring the guy up, but the person that I was talking about over there on OTW, that
Mm-hmm.
individual, I know in my heart of hearts that he may do the same thing one day,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept him close to try to reason and talk to him and get him to understand, because especially when he claims that he's, a man of God and he knows the scriptures, man. He knows the scriptures real well, and that's one of the reasons why I would communicate with him a lot, because I knew it, and I'm like, there's a way that I could get to this guy and
Mm-hmm.
keep him from doing this one day, because he's
Yeah.
already been in a place twice over the thoughts of doing that. And
Yeah.
you know what, at this point I'm not, am I my brother's keeper? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And so I've had to separate myself from that situation, because you can only, um, I don't even know the word, you can only love a motherfucker so much, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's
Without,
interesting that
you
that would
know
work out that way. Um, that you were looking, to offer some understanding and compassion and fellowship and care. I also ended up with my largest, my super fan. My puppet is a real boy. Sorry, I can't help it, but he's just. Anyways, I went over there because I saw this person who had such a great sense of spirit. I know people would be like, really him? I'm like, yeah, he's got a grandiose sense of spirit, right? Like delusions of grandeur. But honestly, like
yeah, it
when
sounds
you rip
familiar,
apart,
right?
yeah, when you rip out the confusion, right? Like, which is, I listened to him for a long time. I ignored all the people, all the stuff that he was dragging. You're so good at just chatting and listening and ignoring what you're not interested in and paying
Right.
attention to what you are. That was before he ever live streamed. So by the time I actually went to meet this person, um there was there was definitely like I felt like you have that parasocial experience. I've had people hop on my panel where they're like, they know you so well, and you don't know them at all, right? You don't know them, but they've listened to you, right? So I went over to help because he had this hell realm model, and there was just so much things that he'd peppered through what his breakdowns of things that you listen with confirmation bias. And I found out in my worldview had a lot of parallels with his worldview, but his worldview was so dark, right? And mine was so bright. So I was, I wanted to learn and offer him hope, I guess. And instead, I never he came to my live stream before I ever went to his, because he didn't live stream yet. And I asked him these questions, and he was like, great question, and he got to answer them, and things were great. But ultimately we spent a bunch of time on his channel. And my point is that, like, I listened for a long time. Certain characters don't you can't really argue against, and it's not because I want to argue. It's because I'm actually trying to, like, formulate a full understanding. I'm still learning. I'll figure out where to push back, but anyways, I actually saw a lot of things in this man that paralleled things in myself, and wanted to see what had him going down such a dark path, and I just wanted to help. That's all I wanted to do. And ironically, like, some people don't want your help or think they even need your help, you know? Like,
Oh
that's the
yeah,
first thing,
that's
you
yeah.
know? And
That's
and I
your
and
own
we
grandioso beliefs coming into
exactly, it
factor,
really
right?
is. It's ego. It's ego,
Yeah,
right? Like,
right.
and this
That's I had
is
to let go of my ego, right? Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
seven deadly sins.
And it's interesting because, I did spend hundreds of hours. I had a major I'm a YouTube junkie. I'm in rehab. In fact, my panel channel rehab sponsor tonight, I did a live stream. I've been, out here again for the last week, And my good friend sent me a message after. I don't even know. It was just like, I wish you well. And I'm like, are you breaking up with me? Because it's been like, and he's not even on YouTube anymore, right? But he,
Right.
saw that I was on live and came to check. And I thought I was having my, anyways, doesn't matter. I knew
No,
what I
I
was
feel.
doing. Okay. I knew what I was doing. I knew I was going to do a horoscope thing and then that it was going to turn into drama. I'm not going to lie about that. But I also, the
Right.
drama came sooner than the horoscope thing even got started. So I was offering, anyways, it all works. It's a perfect storm. No one did anything wrong. Everything was in full information, but I did not disclose the whole thing to, the perfect picture to my panel channel sponsor. And then suddenly I'm like, oh my God. Anyways, none of that matters. My point was about this, this desire to help people and give them, see if you can't help steer them in the right
To kind of
direction.
open their eyes and
Yeah, yeah. And,
confide, let them
it
confide in
really blew up.
you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It
yeah,
really blew up in my face. Right. That
yeah,
being said,
yeah, it
I'm the
really blew up
first.
in my face.
Yeah. I'm the first though, considering, it's his love. He loves to be in all the places. And, if I'm in chat, he'll definitely talk and to me and stuff. All I want to say is that when I'm around and he's on a panel, I'm not someone who I will push back, but people say stuff like, "Oh, it looks like he's come a long way. Like he seems to be doing much better." And
Yeah,
I'll say in the chat, better, right? Like I don't think he thought there was anything wrong. Like I think you're being kind of arrogant. Like, I'll go to this guy's defense, right? Like because I know better. What do you mean? There was nothing wrong with him. That's it. That's he doesn't think there's anything wrong with him. And
right.
it's just people love to project on people. We love to project. Everyone talks about the negative things we project on each other. We project our good nature onto each other too, right? So you expect that someone's going to have the same good nature you have. And I'm not trying to say good as in better. I just mean I have no hobby of hatred. I've
Right.
only learned how to strongly.
Hey, yeah, I've, my hobby lately is a little bit of hatred.
Is it? Yeah. Well, I
Not,
went
I
through
would
it.
say
I mean,
hatred, but it's more of my hurt. Like I've been hurt by what I'm experiencing right now,
mm,
and it's like, what did I ever do to deserve this?
mm,
You know,
mm,
you need the attention that bad. Okay, well,
mm,
you know, um, things that I say when I do, I did a video the other day. You may not have seen it, but it was from the heart where I'm like, I can't engage in this, and this is what this little script down here is from this day forth. My only response to
mm.
be given is prayer for
I
your
did
discernment
peek
to see the
in, right?
errors of your ways. No more will I be
Mm,
casting pearls before swine. And if you
mm.
know what that means, I
I do.
cannot,
Yep. They'll eat you up.
you know, I can only do so much, and and what is it going to take for somebody to get their head out of their ass you know and I can't get the answers when I go over to you know to OTW Live. I go over there and I tell the story, and is it going to be embarrassment that gets somebody to get their head out of their ass, that everybody knows what's going on behind the scenes, and trying to keep it on the down low, and pretend like nothing's happening. you know is this
Mm,
person running around on live streams and saying, "Yeah, I'm an agent of the government, and or whatever, and I'm doing this to somebody who I consider to be a friend of mine because of whatever they wouldn't do for me." You know, is this
mm,
is this what your legacy is all about? When I'm
mm.
trying to, I was the best friend that person could have ever fucking had, without a doubt,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to snap my arm off and pat myself on the back, but you know, I think that I wasn't my relationship with that person wasn't fake and phony for the most
Mm,
part. I was always cautious and had the wall up because I never physically met the person, and I
mm,
know from conversations of what this person was capable of doing if you went the other way, and
mm,
you can only talk to somebody and try to convince them to um, talk them down from the ledge, so to speak. And that was in many conversations that I had with other people that tried talking this person down from that ledge over and over and over and over again. I I guess I'm guilty of having or being addicted to negative hope. I was addicted to hopium, hoping that something would change. And
Hmm.
What's that sound right there? That something would snap and register in their fucking brain to say that there's
Hmm.
a better way to conduct your life. I understand. So I learned a lot about people who I myself have abandonment issues. Okay, we all
Hmm.
do. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are fucking Wally or Cleaver Beaver living in that perfect home. There's something in your life where you're going to have an abandonment issues, whether it be a friend or this one little situation that it doesn't matter. I've studied psychology enough. I didn't go to college for it, but I'm very well I'm knowledgeable about the psyche and what it does. Most people are addicted to drugs. Most people are alcoholics. Most people have gambling addictions. Whatever an addiction is, it's something probably could be rooted back to an abandonment situation, and it's just an expression of something that is negative in your life where you've resorted from one traumatic experience and now you're doing this whatever. And the perfect person to be in here having this conversation would probably be Lindsay. I found her to be very intelligent when it comes to the psychological aspect of
Hmm.
people's
Yeah, I
minds. And
really, yeah, yeah.
I liked having a conversation with her when I was on Tariq's channel, when the shit went down and Lena was on there. And anyways, I
Yeah, I
enjoyed having
don't.
that conversation with Lindsay.
I
And
missed it. I don't watch him.
well, he
Yeah,
only leaves them up,
yeah.
and if it's a beneficial stream that I could screen record or keep a record of it, it's fucking gone. If it's a
I've had him blocked for the better part of the whole time
no,
I've been out here.
he's a
Sometimes I
fucking
unblock it,
shithead.
but yeah,
He's
yeah.
a fucking shithead.
So
But that's neither here nor there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
when it comes to that person that is doing this to me,
Hmm.
I I I I don't want anything bad to happen to the guy, whether it's
Hmm.
self-serving, you know what I mean, or
Yeah,
somebody who is accused of being something they're not, doing something, you know.
yeah,
Here in Michigan, in Oakland County, let alone what was the guy in Vegas that just 3 months ago, 2 3 months ago,
hmm,
that had a beef with some dude, and the dude went to Vegas to hang out, and the guy lived in Vegas, and he found him when he was live streaming on the. That's why a lot of people don't live stream in the First Amendment community. Whether it's because of other people saying, hey, because I've been telling. Let me back it up. I've been telling First Amendment auditors who I believe are causing, problems in society with their harmful content. And I know a lot of these big YouTubers in the First Amendment community, like the guys with the cameras that run around chasing the cops. I know them all, and they all know me, and none of them will give me the time of day to have told my story from the past to get me anywhere, which it is what it is. But I've come to, and Cammed Up Caveman, the guy in the audience here, he knows some of the people that I'm talking about. He's a little familiar with it. He doesn't get involved in the drama. I respect him for coming over here and participating in my realm. And
hmm,
but these people are out here doing the dumb shit that they're doing, and somebody's gonna get hurt, which they've already it's already happened. So the guy in Vegas who was live streaming, him and his wife, and the other guy came and did what he did to the guy, and the guy's no longer here, right? That's just one example. And then there was another guy here in Michigan, in Oakland County, who was one of the exposing those PDFs, and he was accusing somebody of being a PDF because
hmm,
they were 19 talking to a 16-year-old.
hmm.
That's a really close gap, right? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like
It actually
12
in
and
most
20, you know.
Well, yeah, in most places they have that what do they call it? The Romeo and Juliet, or no, not
Right,
Romeo and
right,
Juliet.
right.
Is it
Which, how many,
Juliet
yeah,
thing, or
Yeah,
Where
but
there's an age gap above a certain age of consent, that's
that
okay.
is not, it's not like a sketch age, right? And but society has come to a different view on the age gaps, and so this guy that
I
was
think
being
most,
accused
yeah, yeah.
took this other guy out in public because he was following him around going, "You're a PDF, you're a PDF," and the dude was like, "Oh yeah, bop bop bop," and now that guy who was running around
That
telling everybody
19-year-old
there,
is gone.
no, the channel who was telling the 19-year-old
Oh,
that
I
he was
see.
a
You got it. Yep,
PDF,
yep.
the PDF, the alleged PDF guy who, you know, said, okay, but pow, and now you won't be calling me a PDF no more.
Wow.
And so this is what I've seen the future coming to, and this is what I've been trying to tell that idiot that's done this to me, that he shouldn't be saying these things about people that he doesn't have any proof of, because you're
Hmm.
going to encounter somebody, maybe this is the vision that I've been seeing for a long time, that somebody, maybe it was the guy in Pontiac, but I didn't know that guy in Pontiac, I didn't know of his channel, but this guy runs around and tells everybody that you're that, just if you disagree with him, that you're a PDF. And so when me and this guy were pals, I'm talking about this guy, the thing that's on my ankle. When me and him were pals, we were working in conjunction and assisting each other in stopping this other guy from saying that the one who's committed veterans charity fraud, that he was a PDF. And I looked into him and his record and his background, and he is not a PDF. So I told that guy that's in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, stop saying this shit about somebody. You're going to cause somebody to be hurt. And because lies can get you taken out, right? And so that guy started attacking me, saying that, because I went to prison a while back, saying that I was a snitch and whatever, which is not true. And that's one thing that I don't like. Don't ever say that I was a snitch. If I was a snitch, I never would have went to prison. So, anyways, I went to Pittsburgh to go and visit this guy, to have an adult conversation with him. Even though he told me that he was going to whoop my ass, he was going to do this, he was going to do that, and whoop, whoop, whoop. And so I said, I'll come there and I'll let you do whatever you got to do to me, so you can prove to the whole world how tough you really are. But just do it real quick, do it real fast, because if I start to involve myself, it's not going to look pretty for you. And so it's just me. That's how I am. And so I went there, hung out with the guy. His whole tune changed. He wasn't puffing up like a peacock. He was meek, and didn't want no trouble, and he apologized and whole 9 yards. I hung out with him, broke bread with the guy, whole 9 yards, and he understood. And I believe that I was sent there from my intuition and my ability to see things. And and Tony was in here. I think Rip Curl might have been watching it, and Tony is running with scissors, and Lynette. They were watching live when I went to Pittsburgh and visited this guy, and he didn't show up. I was going to pay him $100 to, just because I know he's broke, and the premise of me going there was, I call it the $100 challenge. If you think that you can whoop me, come and whoop me. I'll give you $100. And long story short, the $100 bill that I went to give him had his actual prison number on it. Out of all the $100 bills in the world, his prison number was on a $100 bill. What are the odds of that? You know what I mean? So,
Oops, I was muted. I'm totally listening in it and
okay.
saying
So,
crazy.
so I,
Sorry.
so I did what I did, not because I had any ill intent. I did what I did to explain to people that you need to stop bringing the internet into the real world, which is what has just now happened to me. Okay? Because
Hmm.
somebody was harassing me, which, no reason to harass me other than that I have audio recordings of me and the guy who committed veterans charity fraud. I'm not going to give somebody my audio recordings. That'd be like you and me having a private conversation, and
Yeah,
then somebody else saying, let me have those recordings.
yeah.
I'm not doing it. I have conversations with Rip Curl. I have conversations with Lynette. I have conversations with Tony. I have conversations with a bunch of people, not because I have any nefarious, all of my shit is kept as a record. People can say that's
Mhm.
weird all you want, but people who know me, they know
No,
that
yeah,
I will never use
yeah,
those in any way, shape, or form as an attack against them. Only time
yeah.
I will use anything that I have is if you try to say some fucking spit some fucking bullshit on me, and I will
Yeah,
break them
you'll
out and
use
say,
it against that person, right?
well, it's not against them. It's
Right.
just to
Well,
share the
yeah,
truth.
sorry, to prove, yeah.
It'll
Now
prove that
that
you're
being said,
lying, right?
do you get on
So
record when you're recording someone that they are being recorded, so you tell them they're being recorded?
everybody is well aware.
Everybody knows.
This
Just for the
idiot that
sake of
did
like
this to me,
legality. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
idiot that did this to me started recording his calls because I
Are
did.
we being recorded right now? I'm just kidding.
Well, we're on a
Please, this
YouTube, of
idiot.
course.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding. I'm just
But
totally just being ridiculous.
no, but my point being is that stop. No matter who you are, you should probably stop spreading bullshit unless you have factual evidence. If people had access, the ability to, or you know, a bar member would be interested, he could get. There's nothing that you could get out of the guy, but people who go around spreading these lies about people, they wouldn't be doing it. Which would take me back to I don't need police because the police are now involved in this, allowing somebody to feel emboldened with their bullshit. If the police didn't exist in this world, I guarantee you this wouldn't be part of the equation, and nobody would be doing this about me because they would know that this would come to their way. You know what I mean? That would stop everybody from doing the shit that they're doing. If some guy's running around town and he's stealing sexual satisfaction from somebody that didn't want him to be sexually satisfied, if grapes, you know what
I'm
I mean?
sorry.
So
That's
that's the
funny.
polite way of saying it, right?
Stealing
So
says
so if I knew of somebody who was stealing sexual gratification from somebody and they didn't want it, and me or others, we found that person and we snipped off that dick. What's it going to do for the next guy who thinks he's going to go steal sexual gratification from somebody?
I
They're going
was
to
going to tell
go,
you this
I'm not doing that no more.
when you
You
were
know?
talking earlier about the neighbor and the Peggy sending someone over to talk to Peggy or vice versa, or the
Right.
men going over. I was reminded of my friend who is from a village in Ethiopia. Right now, his father was a diplomat, so he
I
and
can
his
say
11
that
siblings.
that's how they
Yeah,
live.
well, in
Right.
he and his 11 siblings are, quite well cultured and they live all around the world. And, he happens to live here and he's the black sheep of the family. Like his rest of his siblings are lawyers and doctors. And my friend is a painting drinker, enjoying the good life on an island here and he gets to see his family a lot less. But point being, I first met him, there's so many one liners. They're so great. But he told me in his village, right? There is no false accusations of people stealing sexual gratification from someone who doesn't want it stolen from them, right?
Right.
And he said why that happened, why it isn't in his village, because you'll get your beheaded, right, by a machete, like done, right?
Well,
Like the brothers, the
eye for an
fathers, the
eye, baby.
whomever, yeah, the whomever, like, and so when you say, because very typical of Western people to say to him, why, well, what happens when someone fakes it, like someone lies, right? Well, no one
Same thing
lies
happens to
about
them.
that. Well, no, I guess it probably would happen, but
It
he
should.
said that actually, like, because that you would be putting the blood on your own hands of somebody else, right?
Right.
Like, why would you even think, like, it's just the idea of falsely accusing someone so that they can become, no more, right?
Right.
Like, that's just not in the fabric of a society that does that,
Can you hold that
like,
thought for 1 second? I got to run to the
yeah,
fridge and get something to drink. Hold on. And my cord
okay,
ain't
sure,
long enough.
yeah, no problem.
So yeah, that's as much as it's a third world country and whatnot. Ethiopia and places like that. I admire their ability to handle situations like that without having
Yeah,
some cocksucker with a badge who is protected through this illusory authority. There's
Well,
no
that's the
whole,
great.
there's no higher authority than God Almighty and the truth.
Well, and that's the great thing about cultures that actually act in good faith and in like kind together, right?
Right.
So nobody's perfect, but you've actually raised a culture that actually has Muslims and
Resemblance
Christians.
of perfection, just a little
Well,
bit.
and Muslims and Christians living together, for instance, all holidays. There's a lot of overlap in holidays between those religions, anyways. And I'm sure I'm sure there's also uh, Jewish people there. They're just not as prevalent as they are in any society. They're not, there's not enough for me to be like using them as the reference. But I'm not meaning to leave them out.
No, right.
Again,
I get you.
yeah. So,
It's
but
a
but
melting pot of its own.
but that's where some of these things come from, like love thy neighbor is a lot easier when you're acting in good faith in and in like kind with the people around you, right? And so when we're in a world where we may not have the same control over that as being raised, culture after, generation after generation in a place where when you're given a name like David or or what are Godfried or Rebecca or whatever, right? Like, in addition to the fact that in a lot of, I don't think it's in Ethiopia, but say Nigeria, where they have the names where you have your name, like like confidence and patience and not
Yeah, the
destiny or
translation
anything like
of
that.
right. The
They're all
translation
well.
of
They
your name
actually
means this.
actually
Yeah.
well in Nigeria, they
Oh,
speak English from
I got a
they
bad
speak English
I
from
got a
birth.
bad problem with Nigerians.
But I'm just using this as an example. Some of these African countries, like people talk about first language, second languages. Some people speak three languages from birth,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
And the
Right.
business
Yeah.
the business is done in English from birth. School's done in English from birth. Your church is done in this and blah blah blah, right? So, and then
Right.
there's
And then your
pidgin and
language in your
dialect and all these
village is
things. So,
yeah. Yeah, you got village
but
language.
when these when people are running around YouTube spewing Bible quotes at each other, or men are Orthodox men are coming at me to have conversations, like technically they should be saying, are you an Orthodox woman, right? And when I say no, then technically they should just wander off to find somebody. Or are you recruiting women for Orthodoxy? Then you would definitely approach it from a much more noble and righteous and reasonable place than just coming in and screaming and proving that I'm not an Orthodox woman, you know,
Right.
just for shits and giggles, right? So what people don't realize, like, love thy neighbor is a lot easier to do when you're in a society together where you actually have reverence and worship for something together. It doesn't have to be God. Even there's lots of communities in the
No,
world that
it could
don't have
just be
religion, but they
it
have,
could be
but
community, the
yeah,
common
and they have
unity.
yeah, and they have agreements to rules and behaviors and structures and
The
you know
societal norms,
yeah. So love thy
what takes you
neighbor.
back to lore. The
Exactly.
origin of law is lore. Where it was
Hmm.
folklore, where your folks, your family taught you the rights and the wrongs. It wasn't
Hmm.
something that you learned from a
Oh,
Bible. It was passed down through
nice. I like that.
generational. So yeah,
Yeah.
and law is land, air, and water. Which God
Yeah.
created law, land, air, and water. So
Exactly.
it's yeah. But no, I agree
Yeah.
with you. For sure.
Well, and that's
It's
why here, like, if you want to, like, you don't have to love it. Like, I live in a place, I don't have to love the people around me. I, I can, if I don't love my neighbor, I can build a pretty fence, right? I can, you know,
tolerate.
you
Just
know,
God
yeah.
doesn't teach hatred; He
And
teaches
here's the thing about
toleration.
loving the neighbor. If you really can't love your neighbor, then it's time to move, right? Like
If you can't
that's
come
just,
to an
you have.
agreement to disagree,
Well, and ultimately,
at minimum.
I'm talking about the idea of the neighbor, right? So you don't even have to ever talk to the neighbor to think you don't like
No,
them.
right.
You can have an
You
idea
can
of what they are
coexist.
by what you see, and just be like, I don't want to live by this person. I don't want to live around these people. Now we live in both live in melting pot society, right? Where people can say, well, you can't just do that, Max, right? Well, actually you can. There's tons
Well,
of neighborhoods
yeah, as
all
long as you're
over.
not, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do.
You can segregate yourself into a neighborhood of like-minded people quite easy, where there's the odd
It
person who
happens
doesn't
all the
fit in
time.
or whatever. I mean, that's what neighborhoods are actually, right? So,
Right. It's
it's
neighbors and hoods. It
well,
happens all the time. It happens here. Here in
yeah,
Michigan, for an example, we have the city of Detroit has two cities within the city of Detroit. You got Highland Park and you have Hamtramck. Hamtramck used to be a sister city to Warsaw, Poland, where it was a predominantly Polish population. And then over the years, the Polish people have either passed away, moved off, the generational, distance of they moved out of the the old school neighborhood, and now it's been taken over by Middle Easterners, which you hear Dearborn all the time. So you got cities within cities that are predominantly other societies, where you walk down the street and then you hear the call to prayer when you never used to hear the call to prayer in that city because it's just a big neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I can really tell that we could have a lot. We are having a great conversation. We could have a lot of great conversations. I have plans tomorrow morning, so I should probably cut this shorter than I want to. I've
for
had
sure.
very late nights. I've been on the used to be Truffy Juice. Now I'm just straight up on the panel junk. I was intrigued, definitely very intrigued by your. I was invited in by the heading. I was sucked back in this past week, and I really have been looking for reasonable conversations, right? Like reasonable. And I might have come in a little hot on the adrenochrome topic. Like I'm not,
uh,
even as
I'm
I express the
I'm not
things I'm
offended.
expressing, yeah, those are not my beliefs. Those are just my thoughts and ideas on, us trying to
Talking
come right.
points,
Yeah, and trying to come to the center of
right?
issues, like and then really if you go even any further, even if you take something that's so abhorrent as that, and we do, and someone could prove it is true, and I'm not saying in the most abhorrent way, I'm just saying like someone comes and brings me evidence where I'm like, okay, I was in denial because I wanted to be naive again, and I'm back on board. What I've learned on YouTube, especially since I really got sucked in here, I'm like 7 years into basic, like a level of almost agoraphobia. It began before. I've worked in that time, and it's not like I'm only at home, but it's definitely something that I was well prepared for when the when the event occurred that had us all in our homes.
Well,
Um,
I don't think you're
and
alone in that, so don't feel bad.
exactly. Well, I
Not saying that I
appreciate that.
am, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there that have, that was their only connection because personally, I ignored it. I went
Well,
on as
yeah.
business as usual. Anybody
Well,
that
for me,
told
I
me
was
you
already
can't,
in
I'd be
my
like,
house. So,
you see
yeah.
this? Sit and spin on
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I'll do what I want
None
because
of
you ain't
that
my
had.
daddy.
Yeah. No,
That's
I
what I
don't know
tell
where
them.
you were. Yeah. Well, see, where I was, I mean, I've been a restaurant worker my whole life, and, my industry shut down. So,
Well, yeah, I
like, we
get
weren't,
that.
you know,
Well, I've been
um,
a truck driver. My industry didn't
yeah.
shut down. I was living in the. What was that iRobot? Was that iRobot with Will Smith, or was it not iRobot?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
one where it was in the end of
Oh,
the
Legend.
yeah.
Something about
I
Legend. Yeah.
I was in a mini Legend where I hate to say it, but it was a beautiful world.
Well, and
All
yeah,
the
there's a
assholes
lot.
were gone.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
There's,
All the
yeah.
assholes were out of my. I could drive down the road, and but there was still some out there, but
It
it
felt
was a
like the
peaceful
70s.
existence.
Yeah. It felt like the 70s when you went outside. It was so
I,
quiet.
I was I
Yeah.
was well alive in the 70s. I remember the 70s real
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
it was a beautiful place in the 70s, and it was peaceful in the 70s from my perspective. And when when I was driving a semi from January 13th, I started driving after I went through the shit that I went through with the last round of YouTube scumbags fucking who were gang stalking me, and I ended up getting unlawfully arrested and maliciously prosecuted. And it was after I accepted a plea, but my case wasn't over. I was able to get a tether off of me and hit the road. So from January 13th until mm, May of 21, I went from Detroit to Texas, except for sometime in that period when it got real bad. Even some of the auto plants were closed, so then I started running produce out of Florida. I, I, I never stopped. I didn't take one break. I didn't get any of the COVID money. I didn't get anything. I said, I don't want the government's money. They can take it, show it where the sun don't shine. Fuck the government. I'm an anti-corrupt government guy. I believe in governance, a very limited need for government, and it's the difference between government and governance. And anyways, I enjoyed setting my cruise control on 70 miles an hour and running through Waco, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin at rush hour traffic times and never having to touch my brake pedal. And that's how little people were out there. And it was, I got videos of it, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. You motherfuckers can stay home for another year, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you're not capable of thinking for yourself and understanding what it was all about, and I was even still buddies with that guy that did this to me, and he was sharing my Trump shit, and the whatever, and so, but it was a beautiful time. You're not the only one that had an experience where everything was shut down in your world. Nothing shut down in
Mm-hmm.
my world. I
Mm-hmm.
refuse to allow anybody to shut anything down in
Yeah, I
my
was
world.
2 years into shutdown before any of it happened, so I was game on, motherfuckers. Game on.
Well, I do know
So
that that period of time, I can go, say if somebody on Facebook, for example, wants to argue with me about certain topics, maybe the shape of the earth, and you ain't woke, motherfucker, or they want to talk about saving the children, and I'd be like, you motherfucker, where were you in '91 when Randy Weaver was murdered by the government? And do you know anything about Ruby Ridge? Do you know anything about 9/11? Do you know anything about anything Waco? With David Koresh.
mhm.
I've met and know people. I don't know them now, but I've met them and had conversations with people who knew David Koresh. When I was traveling through Texas and whatnot, and I call those COVID woke. Those people, and if I don't mean it in any offensive way, but
Mhm.
they're not true truthers in the sense that I consider a truther.
Mhm.
A truther to me is somebody who knows about the topics they speak about. When somebody runs around on their channel and they yell "Pogo Pedo, Pogo Pedo," not Pedo, but Pogo channels, and do you know about Project Zypher and Project Pogo? I say, well, tell me if you don't know how to spell the word Zypher in the word, in the Project Zypher, if you don't know how to spell it, shut the fuck up and don't even talk about it. Because if you can't look at the most minute detail that really has nothing to do with anything and understand what it's about and what's the purpose of these projects, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Most people didn't have no clue what Project Rusty and Project Paperclip were. You know, most people don't know what Project Glass Dome is about. Or I could go on and on and on. But if you don't look into these topics, you don't understand them. And then they talk about the guy with the little mustache during the World War II. World War II was never ended. The only thing that has ended was the bombs and the bullets. They've just went from that, turning the war into the war for your mind, through whether it's MK Ultra or propaganda or manipulation or whatnot. And those same people through Rusty and Paperclip are all over this now. We can say what happened with JFK and the Hatfields and McCoys, which is the Bushes and the Kennedys. The
Mhm.
Bushes were Jews, or not Jews, but Germans who were part of it. And so there's a lot of things that people
Yeah.
don't know. Most people don't know that the man with the mustache lived until he was fucking 90 years old in Argentina. They think that that's just
Mhm.
nonsense and tinfoil hat shit.
There's a great. Have you
Fuck,
seen the
get the fuck
spoofy?
out of here. You're not a truther, man. That's the way I
Have
see
you
it.
seen the spoofy movie on that where a kid becomes Hitler's best friend?
No, I don't watch
Pardon my
movies. I
sorry
don't.
about the word.
I
Oh
don't
my
watch
gosh, there's a
TV or
really
movies.
yeah, there's a really funny movie that's recent that was recently made. It's I have to go look for it. Too tired to look for all the words. Oh my
Right.
gosh, it's so funny. It's a very good parrot. It's
Well, if
just
you
hilarious,
send it to me,
where
if you can
he's
send it to me or share the link or
yeah.
share the name
Well,
or whatnot where I
yeah,
can find it,
actually this yeah,
I'm
I
open
will.
to
I
stuff.
put my email in the back. Sometimes I tear my channel down for 2 or 3 months at a time.
You put
Um,
it in the private
and
chat.
yeah, I put it in the
Oh,
private
okay.
chat there.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. And if you
I'll
want to send, just shoot me an email, and then we have a connection. If I have my channel down that way, I could send you an email saying, "Hey, I'll love to join you" or something.
here. I'll write it
Um,
down right now. So if I lose,
yeah, if you forget.
I'm tech challenged.
Yeah, and it is. Well, I guess if my channel's down, you would know. But my channel's named The Bex Factor. And I'll dox my own email because it is my channel email, thebexfactor@gmail.com.
You don't
Um,
always have to have it as your email.
yeah, I
My
strategically.
channel is not Bad Apple Media Gmail. It's something different. So,
Well,
but
yeah, I'm perfect timing that I actually did that. Like because I did originally have I came out here on my full name at one point. So, there's that was already out there. So, but
I
when I came
doxed
out here with
myself.
yeah,
I I doxed myself on
yeah, well,
the Veterans
that's
Charity
us Gen
Fraud
X.
channel. I
Yeah,
doxed myself, my full name and my birth date when it
yeah,
was 3,000, let's say 3,000 people watching. And I said, you guys out
yeah,
here that are fucking with this guy and you're spreading these lies and these rumors, you're going to fucking fuck with the wrong person and they're going to show you what's up. And I said,
yeah,
and I'm that guy. You keep fucking
yeah,
poking this bear, I'll come and fucking knock on your doors. Didn't mean it like I'm going to come and knock on your door physically
yeah,
to figure of speech. I'll come and knock on your door and make your
yeah,
life a miserable fucking living hell. And still to this day, motherfuckers are running around going, he knocks on people's doors. Shut the fuck up. Quit with your
hmm
bullshit narrative. Quit with your
yeah,
fucking propaganda and
yeah,
keep running away and hiding from me and telling people he's a dangerous man. No, I'm only dangerous to your fucking lies and your narrative. That's it. No matter who says that shit. Because I speak the truth. You can, Lynette and Rip Curl and anybody else and Tony from Running with Scissors, a few people
yeah,
that have been loyal to me, they know me. And they know, they'll tell you right here. I don't even need to ask them and they'll tell you what I am about. I'm not referring to you. I mean, in general, people who know me,
hmm
even the guy who's done this to me, I can't believe that he thinks that he's going to get away with this.
hmm hmm
He's not.
Well, yeah,
It's literally going to, and but most people don't care though. That's the thing is that he's somewhat safe from ridicule and ostracization, so to speak, from the community because most people don't give a fuck. For an example, that I as it'll piss people off that I say this, but I don't give a fuck. This is my personal opinion. I think that whatever his other name is, Landry, I think that he's on the spectrum.
hmm
Something
I'm
wrong
on the
with that guy.
spectrum.
Well, I think he's on the spectrum, but to a level
Yeah,
that nobody knows. And if you're
yeah,
on the spectrum, I can't tell. Okay, so but
yeah.
he's on the spectrum, and when I was on, and I think you're the one that knew that I was on Crackhead Dusty.
OTWs.
No, I was on Crackhead Dusty, telling my trying to tell the story like OTW allowed me to say,
Yeah.
and I believe it was Landry that was over there. I could be wrong. I think it was Landry and
He's
Dusty.
new. He's very new. He's just a week
And
into week or two
this is
weeks into. Yeah.
boring. You want to know what to me is boring?
What?
Is listening to fucking Landry. Listening to Jack Talcott. To me, that's fucking boring. I'm
hmm
That'll probably piss a lot of people off. But to me,
Well,
that's not an intellectual conversation of people thinking that there's some deep philosophical fucking explorer trying to be in touch with their feelings and their relationship woes. To me, you sound like a
yeah,
fucking cuck bitch. I'm just saying.
yeah,
But I'm all for having a normal conversation and
yeah,
not being offended at what people say as long as you're not attacking me ad hominem. You know,
Hmm.
you can say whatever the fuck you
I
want. If I
appreciate
disagree, I
that.
disagree.
I appreciate
But
it.
don't come
Yeah.
in here and go, oh, you're a cuck, you're a fag, you're a homo. Bitch, I had more pussy. No, no offense. Call me a fag?
Mhm.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And this is what
Exactly.
some of these guys in the First Amendment community, the only thing that they can come at me with when I literally go on their live streams, and their live streams seem to be created just so I would be beckoned over there. So I could
Yeah.
say, what's up, you pussies? What the fuck you doing? And
Yeah.
they attack me when I say you're a government, you're shill, you're fucking, you're psychological operation, you're no better than Alex Jones or fucking Joe Rogan yourself, and yada
Yeah.
yada yada. And the best comeback that somebody with 3, 4, 500,000, a million subs can say to me, "You faggot."
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm a faggot
It's like
because
that.
I'm calling
Yeah.
you for who you are, and the best you got is calling me a faggot.
It's like the daddy of the fat card black pilled group, freaking Andrew Wilson. He's Ben Thorpe with Orthodoxy. I'd rather spend a week with Ben Thorpe than fucking an hour with Andrew Wilson. I mean, talking online, not in any private session.
I'll
I'm
take
just
your.
saying
I don't know who they are, but I'll
one of
take
those
them.
men has the ability. One of those men does actually have the ability to listen and hold a conversation, even
Right.
if they're both full on fucking lol cows. One of those men knows that he's a lol cow and actually can riff on anything. The other one can only resort to fantasies about uh societies that have that
A dystopian
people
nightmare
who
bullshit.
people who take sexual pleasure with people that are not whatever you said, the people who
The
steal
Me
from.
Too the Me Too movement.
No, however you described what some people call grape. What was your
Oh,
funny way?
stealing
Yeah,
sexual
yeah,
gratification from somebody
stealing.
who doesn't want
Like
to provide sexual
this
gratification.
great Orthodox Christian, so to speak, is up there preaching subjugation of women, male superiority, right? Like I just think I'd like to say to the men of the lost men that I'm supposed to empathize with while they're being taught these or being led by these men that are my brothers, okay, that were my brothers. I'm not their mother, right? I'm
No,
their sister, right? I'm their
right.
sister. I was in the same fucking broken home. Okay, it is not my fault I broke this fucking world. Anyways, I'm calming down,
No,
calming down.
no,
I'm
you're
saying
all right.
these people
It's
are
okay. It's
fucked,
okay,
right?
Bex. It's okay, Bex. Calm down a little
I'm
bit.
just saying, like, it's
Take a
just
deep breath,
crazy.
Sunshine. Take a deep breath.
And
But
all they
yeah,
do is all they do is imagine these crazy, crazy, out of this world reasons
you
to
wanna
justify testing their morals, and it's
you
absolute insanity. And when anyone goes to challenge it, it's straight up ad hominems,
you
and
wanna
that's
know
how
what
you
I
win all
see?
the money on YouTube. No,
You
no,
wanna know
there's
what
some
I
sort
see
of
with these
thuggery going
men?
on. Sorry. Yep.
You wanna know my opinion of these men who have these the hatred. I call it hatred for women.
Oh, they sure do.
Let's get to the fucking bottom of it. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's just say
Yeah.
that they have
Yeah.
literal hatred for women and what a
Yeah.
woman stands for. They are. Some people confuse these men with this that, and today when I meet somebody of a different generation that's previous from me, anyone in millennial or around that,
Yeah.
when I meet them and I go to shake their hand, I feel as if I'm going to break their hand because
Mm.
their hands feel very feminine.
They
And
haven't even. Yeah, they haven't. Yeah.
and and what I see the problem with most of these men is that they can't satisfy a woman. And they are the ones who feel threatened by the impression that there's toxicity between them, is that
Yeah.
their inability to satisfy a woman, not just sexually, but intellectually and financially or intellectually. Women are
Yeah.
to them are far superior, and their only recourse is to lash out at them in
Well,
any way they see that makes them feel that they're better. No, they're not. Clearly, they're not better than most women. I was I rejected the invitation by a certain somebody
hmm
that I got an issue with right now to join the Men Going Their Own Way coalition. I've had many experiences with women who. My problem with women is that they fall in love with me way too fast, and they feel way too safe with me. You know,
Don't
not
I
saying that
know
that's
it?
a bad
Don't I
thing.
know it?
Not saying that's a bad thing. But maybe I'm not ready for you to fall in love with me, and maybe I'm not ready to protect you like you're mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So let me move at my pace, and you
Yeah.
move at a
Yeah.
slower pace, and we'll probably not you know do this. Maybe we might do this. And
Yeah.
and so when I see individuals or groups of men bashing women, and I witnessed 6 men, and I use that term loosely, 6 males, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
attacking inquisitive archivists
Mm-hmm.
on OTW's panel.
Mm-hmm.
And to his credit, he didn't say much. It was his guests that were
Yeah,
attacking.
but still,
And
that's the credit of the host that wants to exploit the drama, right? And not
well,
putting
it's
him on any,
because of
you
this,
know.
if
Yeah.
it takes a
So.
couple of bucks, but what do we can talk about scripture, we can talk about the believing of God and Christians, and for the love of money is the root of all evil. So if you're going to allow this to happen, and you know, woman was created from the rib of man, okay, and you cannot. Where's the balance at here?
Mm-hmm.
Men that are doing this think they're here, and they think the women are here, but
Mm-hmm.
I would love to think that men and women are here, but
Yeah.
with those men that are in those groups, it's actually they're here and those women are here,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what really is at the root of their hatred, is that they are not
Mm-hmm.
equal. And it's not that
And
society isn't equal. I can see that they're less than, and I'm like, wow, I would
so in
never
it,
allow you to
yeah.
be around my family member, my sibling, my nieces, my the females in my life, the women that I know in my life. I would, if I seen one of these males trying to copulate with somebody that I know, I'd be like, get the fuck away from them, motherfucker. You tell them if they
Mm-hmm.
does anything wrong with you, I'll fucking stay away from that. It's not a man. Stay the fuck
Mm-hmm.
away from that. That's what I would tell them, because they got some psychological issues of their own that they're projecting onto others, that the others aren't adequately equal as, but it's actually them. But that's an argument for another day, that I don't even want to get into, because I'll have thousands of fucking soy boys coming and running their mouth to me, and I'll be like, I'll kick your ass, and I'll come and kick your ass, and I'll drive to your town, motherfucker. And that's what I'd be doing. You know what I mean? Because I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to self regulate and take a deep breath and say, shut up, go away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm I'm a different breed of men than what's on the internet today, especially in this realm that is the
Yeah.
panelverse. I'm
Yeah.
not like them. I'm not saying I'm better than them,
Yeah.
but I'm better than them when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to. I don't see you, Bex. I don't know you. Having this conversation with me, this is what attracts me to women, is
Mm-hmm.
having a exchange of ideas and intellectual properties, that I want to get to know the person. I don't want to go,
Yeah.
what colored panties you wearing, Bex?
Yeah.
What size
Exactly.
bra you got, Bex? That's not,
Exactly.
of course you have to be visually attracted to somebody, but at the same time, I could be visually attracted to this girl, and I could see her going, lighting up a cigarette, and I'm like, that's ugly. Don't want nothing to do with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be stimulated not only in my nether regions, but in my upper cognitive, you know, being.
Yeah.
I want the entire package at this time. Younger life, being the womanizer that I was, it wasn't that I seen women less. It was just my little guy was thinking for my big guy, you know, and I ran around chasing tail like a dog chasing my own tail, even worse. But and I'm chasing tail. It wasn't my own tail. So, but I see women as beautiful creatures who need to be put on I don't think they're better than me, but I do think that they need to be put on a pedestal because they're the ones that hold procreation in their hands. I can't have a I can't produce, you know,
Hmm.
and it's not only just that, but it's the yin and the yang, man. You can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be able to accept the fact that God created man and woman, not just man, and woman is just a side fucking show. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
she's
don't
the
know.
one. Sounds like it seems to me that these guys have somehow studied something back a while back, maybe when it was more important that we populate the earth, and all they seem to care about is the son, that they want a son. They don't actually state that, but their evidence shows they could never be a father to a daughter, right?
Right,
And they actually just want the women for the incubation and the home care of
right,
their son, right?
right.
Like, and
Or
they can
to
say,
create some sustenance for them to consume.
yeah, yeah,
You
they
know.
can say that, any child, but you can tell, like, any man that can, any of these men that can run around thinking that that's how their wife should behave, like, they shouldn't, that's why they just shouldn't be parents to daughters. Um,
Well, I'm a
I was going to say
traditionalist.
that,
Don't get me wrong. I'm a
yeah,
traditionalist. You know, so
that's why I came up with castratia, right? I'm like, you have your stropia, I have my castratia, where we just castrate everyone who thinks they're superior to anyone, right? So if you have a
well, then I would be
superiority
castrated.
complex,
Oh
well, and what I'm meaning based on race or
no!
gender, or
Sexual,
I'm
gender,
not
yeah.
saying you can think you're better than someone because you're noble and you're virtuous and you're not a virtue signaling fucktard, right? Like,
No.
who's just running around saying a thing, like these people out here that say, oh, don't use your, people. So many people are like, don't talk about my family, like, and it's like, you
I
use your
love my
family as
family. Why would I not
people
want to talk
use
about them?
people use a family as a shield, and they
No.
weaponize their family when they use it as a shield. So if you say to a man, "Oh, what about what about the son you left in Canada when you moved with your wife?" He's like, "Don't talk bad about my son." No, we're not talking about your son. We're talking about you and your behavior. You
Right.
used your son as a shield when you said, "Don't talk about my son," right? Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about your behavior, not your child. People don't even think about what they're saying anymore, right?
Well,
Like,
it's
like
because
you
they're
could mention a
spewing a
dead
narrative that
person.
they've been taught.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just want to say, because it's almost midnight, and the perfect time to go
Midnight.
out would be on
It's 3 in the
midnight
morning
where
here.
no, I live on the West Coast.
I know.
Um,
I'm just yeah.
but I just want to say, like, I have this, I have been looking for reasonable conversations, and I've gotten sucked into this boring space, which literally people need to understand. Bored is not understimulated. Bored is not for lack of things to do. Bored is a whole,
It's a
like a bored
choice.
engine. No, no,
Right.
board is a whole, like an engine that has a piston in it, or a
Oh
termite
yeah.
that goes through wood,
It's
right?
stuck in a groove. It's
That's
stuck in a
what board
groove.
is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it has a purpose, right? The engine's bored so the piston can move. The termite bores through the wood because it needs to eat and make a home.
The
It has
definition
purpose,
of
right?
words, the English language has many different
So
variations of the
in our
words.
human state, to be bored, that's why when you said the panel verse, these people are boring, it made me think that if I ever
Well,
had
you're right.
children,
They're all stuck in the same groove. Yeah.
well, and if I'd ever had children, I would have taught them that to call themselves, to say bored, or to even use the word boredom. We use kingdom, the animal kingdom, the kingdom of God, and the only words out there that we use are boredom, right? You've actually made a state of being where you have a hole inside of yourself that, for no purpose at all, right? That is to be filled with what? I'll tell you, like, heroin addiction is boring, literally,
Right. Right.
right? Like, for
Yeah.
instance, that's what
Being an
that word
alcoholic
means,
is
right?
boring.
It's boring.
Right.
And it's not just
That's
boring to
I
you,
never thought about it that way, but you're making a lot of sense saying that. So yeah.
which is why and that's why it really hit me when you said, Jack Talcott, he's boring, right? Like, these people are boring. I'm like, oh my God,
They
thank you
are.
so much. Preach, brother, preach, brother. It's Sunday. I'm joining a cult tomorrow. I'd like to announce that. Thank you for your
Oh,
time with the
really?
chat too.
You're joining a
Yeah, I
real
go
cult?
on
You ain't
a
drinking
real
Kool-Aid,
cult
are you?
actually. I'm joining a real cult tomorrow. This is what people would say. I
Is your
go and
preacher
I've been
named Jim Jones?
no, actually it's worse than that. I don't even think they
Oh,
have a preacher,
what?
you know.
Really?
Um
Well, best
well
of
yeah,
luck to you.
because well, I just, I've been on on this internet for so long. I go every Saturday to do I do a couple things throughout the week to get myself out socializing that involves working with the community kitchen. And in there I've been
Well,
meeting people
that's pretty.
they go
That's awesome.
to, and they all go to the same church, right? I've been going, to this community kitchen for years, off and on, helping out at the kitchen. And
Volunteering is a
yeah,
very, very
I decided to
kind
go to church
gesture.
with them tomorrow. I mean, I'm sitting online listening to people scream scripture at each other all the time anyway. So why not go
Yeah.
hang out with
Yeah.
some nice people that know my
You gotta
name,
go
right?
do, my brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Yeah, they know me well enough to be like, "Oh, hey, you like comedy?" They know my name. I'm like, "Hey, Matt. Hey, Bex, blah blah blah." It's just like, so I have to get up in the morning, do some laundry and be ready to go at 10:30. But I
You
have
could get a
really
good night's
enjoyed this
sleep.
conversation.
I
Yes,
did as
thank you
well.
so much. Very stabilizing, and still in the realm of conspiratorial or whatever, which I really enjoy. So,
Well,
I hope.
that's a healthy conversation where you can touch bases and get back to, normalcy for whatever that's worth, instead of
And what you
being on this side of just conspiracy, conspiracy. The world is terrible. Oh my
exactly,
God, the babies
exactly.
killers. They're fucking the government.
Well, and I
The
love.
world is a bad
Yeah,
place. Yeah, but
yeah.
it's only as bad as you allow it to be in your own world.
Well, and if the information set that one has taken in has given one nothing but misery, right?
It loves
And
that
and and,
company,
and there's nothing one can do to change it, right?
right?
And then that's the challenge that people on YouTube need to get out of, right? Like the
I think
if
they're
you
stuck in a
believe
rut, man.
if you think you're in a shitty world that's run by Lucifer instead of God or whatever, then
Well, that's
you need
true,
to
but
then
yeah,
but an act of rebellion, you know what an act of rebellion is in that world,
civil
right?
disobedience.
Well, an act of rebellion in a world that's run by Lucifer is to have joy, laugh,
Right?
create,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And ironically, those
Be
are all God's
happy.
goals. Those are
Yeah.
all the things that God wants for
God
us, right?
wants you
You
to
see
be
what I'm
happy.
saying?
God wants you to be
Yeah.
rejoiceful. God wants you to
Yeah.
have
So
fellowship and
indirectly,
brotherhood. There's no
so what
fellowship and brotherhood on this godforsaken platform.
well, it looks like God and Lucifer have better brothership than we have, or fraternity than we have. If to
Yeah.
rebel against Lucifer in a
Yeah.
Luciferian system is to do God's
Absolutely.
bidding,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
isn't that a double whammy? So
Well, see, then I like the way that you think, Bex.
So I
So,
hope to hear from you. And again, I met a content creator out here early on that, our second time we talked behind the scenes, we only ever talked 2 or 3 times. And the second time he's like, well, I hope you don't mind if I tape what we have to say. Now he's totally feeding MGTOW, whatever. I know who this fucker is now. I'm finally my first guy that came in and sort of terrorized me. And I'm just like, fuck you, Benton. Fuck you.
really?
Anyways,
Well,
um,
I'll make this
but
promise to you publicly. And
yes.
if I ever break my
No, I was going to
promise,
say, yeah.
I will accept the ridicule and the harassment from anybody who is aware of my betrayal. I would
Yeah.
never, and I have several people in my chat that would say when he says what he says, he means what he
Mm,
says. I will never, if you and I were to ever communicate offline,
mm.
and my calls are recorded, I will never use them against you nefariously or with some hidden agenda. The only time that I would ever produce our private
Yeah,
conversations,
as if I was coming at you making lies.
if you lie on me, you can
Yeah,
rest
yeah,
assured that
exactly.
now I'm game on.
Yeah,
But even
yeah, I don't.
even
Yeah,
even the clown that's done this to me, do you know how many hours of conversations I have with him? Months.
yeah, yeah,
Will it do me any good to share those?
yeah.
No, it won't do me any
No,
good to share those.
no.
I shared my text messages that prove exactly all I needed to prove. That,
Hmm.
one thing I don't understand is how people want to question me or others that were in that time frame. What about him? He was right there, right next to me. Nobody's questioning him. What was
Mm-hmm.
your involvement? What was your intent? What was your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
What was your role? I'm speechless.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the truth, so that's all that matters. Is I represent the
Exactly.
truth, absolute truth, and so help me God. If I'm lying, I'm dying, and that's one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I don't do. I don't lie, and I would never betray you or anybody in
Well,
my
and don't
life.
worry about it.
So
I've learned long ago on YouTube, like that when I started making friendships behind the scenes, or having conversations or whatever, I've always been an open book. I shared too much out here to begin with. I've learned how
to
to
your detriment, to a degree, yeah.
yeah. That's why they came for me, but that's fine. They didn't use it against me or anything. It just showed how naive I was.
Well,
Um,
it just shows that
that
you're
being said,
you're a
I have
real
no
person.
problem being taped. My point is, I have no problem being taped. I always assume I'm being taped, even though I know none of the people I talk to would tape me, right? But you never know. Um, you
Well,
know,
I don't
yeah,
do it. I don't do it um, covertly.
no,
I'm an open
exactly.
book. So
Nor did we, though. I was like, "My God, Benton," right? Like
yeah,
Benton told me the second time we had a private conversation that he was taping it, right? And he was saying it for his own. Sometimes we really did have great conversations. We really inspired each other, whether we were
right,
in cohesion or conflict. It was some of the best content this panelverse has created, right?
right.
Just two people, just the way we could converse. That being said, um, he did,
Well,
he told me he was being taped because he wanted to tape himself. But I know him well enough now to know
well,
that he probably
that
was,
that's weird.
hoping that I would behave differently. And, who knows if one
And
day he'll
use it
use it.
against
Maybe
you,
he'll use it. He's going to use
right?
it against me now. That's probably what he's going to do now. He's
Well,
gonna he's gonna be like, she loved it. We looked at pictures together. We listened to music together. It was great, right? Like, anyways, doesn't matter.
well,
I have
I you
no
know
problem being taped.
I've
I have no problem
I've
being taped.
I've had many 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 incredible conversations offline
Yeah,
and with people nobody online knows.
yeah,
And if I was to share those conversations, because I had somebody say you should make those podcasts, and I'm like, oh, they're private conversations, I wouldn't do that.
yeah,
I could do it, and the people that I'm talking to, or the person or the persons that I'm having these conversations with, I could share every conversation that we ever have online, and nobody would ever, that person that I'm conversing with would never know that I've shared our conversations online. They would be none the wiser for all of eternity. But I
hmm
don't do it. I would never do it. If I was to ever consider doing it, which I've thought, well,
hmm
that would be, yeah, it would be a pretty good podcast. For some people would want to listen to that.
There's
But
probably
I would have to
ways.
get there. I would say, hey, we've been talking for how long now, and they know that I record all my conversations. And I would say, would you mind if I share our conversations online as a podcast to see if anybody would be interested in listening to it? They would more than likely say, yeah, I don't care. Go ahead. They don't know who I am.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
These other
not
thing
who
you
I
could always
am.
do is, yeah, yeah.
And
Okay.
anyways,
Anyways,
my
I already know.
Lynette
I
says
already
that this
know
has
we
been
can
a
talk.
very enjoyable stream, and
It
she said
has. It
thank you.
really has. I'm gonna make. I've never said this before, but I'm gonna make my Bexodus right now.
That's a good
So
one, your Exodus. That's a good one.
my
One of my
Bexodus.
favorite bands
Yeah.
from the '80s, Exodus.
What
Bonded by
what
blood.
you what are you called? What are you referred to here? Bad media.
I
Um,
Bad Apple Media is my alter ego, like Eminem
yeah,
is Slim Shady.
yeah.
Lee,
So
my
what,
name's Lee, and my
Lee?
my assholeness that comes out
Yeah,
is Bad Apple Media.
Bad Apple Media. Got it. So it's okay to
But
call
Bad
you
Apple,
Lee. Like that's
oh, I prefer
okay. Yeah.
really,
Excellent. Well,
and
and my name's Rebecca. I go by Rebecca, Becky, Becca, Bex. They're all fine. I do
right.
that in my real life too. So it really confuses people because I've changed my name different times in my life. I
It's all
changed
good.
my I changed my channel name like on the regular, hence I got given a wrench. Look at me, I'm a moderator. Um uh I was LARPing, I was having fun, I was supporting the new guy. Everyone's like, "What's she doing?" I'm like, "Well, yeah,
Right.
it's fun. It's fun to be a part of." But
Well,
I really,
I appreciate
this has
you
been,
reaching
yeah,
out.
yeah.
I
Thanks for
enjoyed the
having me. I
conversation.
look forward
Yeah,
to the
for sure.
next time.
Yeah.
If you see me retarding out in the panelverse, feel free
Well,
to
well,
feel free to poke fun of me.
if and
uh,
when I
yeah,
see you in the Panelverse, I probably
yeah.
maybe it's something that I really probably won't be a part of. But if I swing in and I see your name
And you
somewhere
see me there,
and I
do
say
kick my
hi,
ass. Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I'll say hi, and you're a grown woman. You can do whatever you want to
yeah.
do. But I'll tell you
Excellent.
this: if you ignore me and you act like you
Yeah.
don't know me, I'll have a problem with you.
Well, if I don't, if you do that, right, and I haven't said hello, please highlight my name,
I will.
so that that I can, because yeah, there's sometimes there's a lot of
Well,
people that
I would never not
well,
highlight your name. If I don't highlight your
excellent.
name, I wouldn't suspect that you would see. But if I do
Okay.
highlight your name and you comment to people above and below me, I'd be like, get bitch.
Yeah.
But no,
Well,
it happens all the time where people I know, like through here, even some of my own subscribers, I'll see them elsewhere and they'll see me in there and they won't go, hey, what's up, man? Because people, I, I'm okay with it. I am self-proclaimed independent. You know, I don't ascribe to any channel, no anything. I'm my own person, and I would hope and suspect, or not suspect. I would hope and like to believe that everybody would be their own person and aren't
mhm,
afraid to say, oh, hey, what's up, how are you, or for fear of ridicule or ostracization from
mm,
those in another community where where I'm not welcome by the
yeah,
majority. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's happening too
exactly.
far often than it hasn't, which is okay. That's no matter to me. I'm a big
That
boy.
was my experience.
You know.
That's been my experience, especially on YouTube. So, but that's okay. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I have great faith. Luckily,
Definitely
luckily
would. Yeah.
through all of this, I learned to not be such a people pleaser. I learned I could say names back to people. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever been someone who was like, oh, you call me a name and I'm just going to turn around and call you one too. Right. Like,
Right. Yeah.
so I think that I actually got to live part of my childhood out here that was suppressed. Right. Like,
Right. Yeah.
and in essence, I've
Yeah.
just
Right.
come full circle. Like, and I realized that I'm actually not capable of hatred, and that's why
Well,
being in this
it's because you're a good
space
person. You know.
well,
It's
and that's why
just.
being in this space hurts me so much. Right. Like,
Why do you think I changed my name to
so
Bad Apple Media? It's not
yeah.
just. It don't apply to me. It applies to everybody. It don't apply to bad cops or this. If anybody who's not a good person can be bad apples, and this is the
Yeah.
place for my media. Even though I'm a self-proclaimed bad apple because people bring that bad apple out of me when they say shit to me, and I'm like, motherfucker, I come on here and I rant and rave. If it wasn't for you on here, this stream would have been over a long time ago because I'm like, yeah, fuck all you guys, I'm out of here.
You're out of
So,
here. Well, thank you for staying up with me. I'm sure I'll get tons of zebra shit flung in my face tomorrow, or at least the
well,
zebra will definitely be coming for me.
well,
And
I know
um,
there's the zebra I refer to the jackass zebra will probably be really upset,
but
and
maybe not. Maybe not. I'm just saying, like, maybe I've been able to be myself enough that I'll be spoken to with some reason. But I have a feeling your guys' beef might trump any peace that I've had. And I knew that when I clicked this
well,
link, I was willing to
well
take the risk. But if not,
I
I've
don't I
underestimated
appreciate
them.
you jumping on the grenade for me, but I
Yeah.
didn't need you. Not it's not about me. I feel
No,
bad
I
for
didn't. Yeah, I
you
definitely. No,
to
don't you
get
worry about that. Trust me.
the flack
I'm
and the
no neck.
fallout.
Yeah. No, don't you worry. I'm no neck Bex. I'm all these things. Like he and I, we've done this. Like it's good. We're fine. We usually
Well,
come
Joe
back to
Dirt is a good
ice and
name to
fever.
toss back.
So, so yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Joe
Don't. I
Dirt.
definitely not throwing. I promise you, I didn't. No, I don't know Joe Dirt.
Joe
Um.
Dirt is a good name to toss back at that fucking guy. Just
Yeah.
think of the relations. Abandonment, Arizona,
Hmm.
crazy hairdos from Issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Joe Dirt.
Got
You
it.
know, I don't mean to lash out and say bad things because after I do them, because it's not passive aggressiveness in any way, shape, or form. It's my
Well, yeah, I don't
my
mean to
my my
underestimate. Yeah.
kindness that's inside going. I really don't mean to take my hurt and hurt others, even if it's the person that hurt me. It's
Mm-hmm.
you know I,
Exactly.
I had a great. I know we got to hang up here, but I have a good set of people in my life, and they
Mm-hmm.
mentor me, and they know all about this, and they say you don't have to get off the internet. And I know it's your right because I'm like fuck that. I ain't going nowhere. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
and they tell me they send me sermons or
Mm-hmm.
they have conversations with me and they talk to me about being meek, because the meek shall inherit the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, because it's my stubbornness in me, and I'm like, ain't nobody gonna, I'm not gonna, I gotta say something when it's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I gotta say something, right? And so they explained it to me, and it's not like I couldn't figure it out, but it's like it's like a wild stallion. It's an uncontrollable beast when you look at it, but eventually it can be tamed, but it's still as mighty as
Mm-hmm.
it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take that, you know, don't let yourself believe that it's weakness because it's not. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
strength and able to be able to control yourself in those situations where instead of saying I'm going to come to kick your ass,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yep.
being
That.
the
Yep.
individual that I am, certain people know that if you push the buttons enough to make that call, so to speak, you're going to get that guy on the other end that says, "What the fuck are you calling me for?" Right? So I have to learn how to, and I do have it in me in certain situations, and I guess maybe I need to pray for more. For the Holy Spirit to fill me up a little more, take my tongue from me, and things of that nature. Because I've had, maybe one day we have another conversation, whether it's in private or on here. I'll tell you about the time that our Heavenly Father took my tongue from me, and that don't happen very often. That never. And this time, God told me, I'm going to show you what's up, and you ain't going to say a word about it. And I'm like, and I literally, when this person was raging, like threatening my existence,
Mm-hmm.
I sat there and just like I couldn't say a word. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
allowed to. Wasn't allowed to. And then that day, that was the day, which was probably about. It was in March when I first had my my first experience of being completely and totally filled with with the Holy Spirit. And I'll tell you what, I've done a lot of drugs in my days, but if you could bottle up the Holy Spirit, the complete package of the euphoric feeling that you get when the Holy Spirit's in you, you'd be a,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be a quadrillion triple millionaire if you sold it for a penny a pill. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if I have the opportunity to fill myself with the Holy Spirit, I'll do it every chance I get. But you know, I did it live, not on purpose, but
Mm-hmm.
God said you're going to share this with people, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize I was. And still this day, this is how a lot of people call me Tweaky, and they tell me I'm possessed, and I'm like, that's right. Don't you wish you was
Yeah, they.
possessed? So, but all right, Bex, I know you got to go to sleep
Thank
and
you so
do
much.
stuff.
No, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your time with me. And thanks to the chat for being so
Likewise.
welcoming. And
Oh,
I look
for
forward to
sure.
the next time we talk. Take
I
care, Lee. Bye
appreciate you,
for now.
Bex, and be good. Have a good day tomorrow.
Thanks for staying up with me. You too.
Right on. Be good. Bye. All right. Well, no, I suspect the 17 in here are gonna split, but that's cool. That's cool, man. I enjoyed that conversation, and I hope that you guys did too. I see Lynette did, and I see that Tony did, and I see Caveman went. He woke up at midnight and spent an hour trying to get back to sleep before getting on YouTube, and regretting not getting up right away and missing an hour of this conversation. Well, I'll leave it up for you, my friend, and you can just rewind it and get to the beginning. And until she came in here, I was just being the same old obnoxious, rude dickhead that people accuse me of being, or self-admittance. But see, this is what I want my channel to be about, is to have adult conversations where we can discuss whatever we want to discuss without fear of anybody's negative opinions or encouraging positive opinions. I'm not a bad apple per se, but you wouldn't know that by watching my live streams, now would you? So I have been on here 3.5 hours. It's 3:30 in the morning. I gotta go to sleep. But anywho, whoever's in this, let's see, I've lost some of the. There's people in here conducting surveillance, counterintelligence on Bex, and I hope that now I'll pray. I won't hope, because hope is a negative. I'll pray for Bex and her peace, that you guys don't give her shit. She's an adult. She doesn't have to obey your every command. She can go and travel the interwebs and go end up wherever she wants. And if she found herself here, there's a reason for it. Everything happens for a reason, and God is in control. And if you guys want to give her crap and give her shit, come at me first and see how I respond to it. Leave her alone. Let her be her own person. You don't control nobody. And if that's what you were in here doing, is spying and watching, seeing what she was saying, what she was doing, she's a decent person. She's got a good heart. And if you don't have a good heart and you're not a decent person, then you're going to give her shit. That's just my personal opinion. And as I say all the time, opinions are like assholes. We all have them. They usually stink like shit, and we probably want you to keep it to yourself. So, there we are. Right? But nonetheless, she changed her name back to... She changed her name back to the Bex Factor while we were all live. Look at that. Well, I appreciate you coming in here, Bex, Rebecca, Becky, and one of my favorite sister-in-laws who was killed in a car accident. I hate to relate your name to, such a tragic event, but my niece and my sister-in-law were killed by a... I won't get into who did it and who he was part of and wasn't held responsible, but she was one of my favorite sister-in-laws, and her name was Becky. So, anywho, did you stick around from the beginning, or did you come back one big pond? And one day maybe you can come up here and we can have a conversation about the statutorial system that controls most people through their implied consent and their status that they believe is a good thing. We can talk about become sovereign. Well, you definitely do, and I'm an open book, and I don't hide my familial situation. Well, it don't have to be now. One big pond. You come back another day, because I am gonna cut this off, and I'm gonna go in the other room. I've been plugged in for the entire time that we've been on the phone, and I've now unplugged so I can go to sleep without having a cord on my leg. So until the next time, Bex, you're more than welcome to come in here anytime. And if anybody gives you crap, you tell them if you don't like it, you go over and say something to Bad Apple Media, and he'll put your ass in place. So, Anyways, you're a channel surfer when dictators are rude. I know sometimes I can be a rude dictator. Sometimes I can be a dictator. A dick-tater. But no, I appreciate you. And I appreciate all you guys that are watching. And hopefully there wasn't too many. Oh, he said you were a dictator? No, you ain't a dictator. He's just... One thing that you don't know about One Big Pond is he's from another continent. Ooh, and I got that little sucker. I got him. See that? Quicker than... I got him. Grasshopper. One Big Pond is referring to... It's one big pond between us and where he's at. He's in Australia. And he's a stand up against the government kind of guy. I'm a guy that I could respect. Not somebody who talks about fighting the government from behind a keyboard. He's actually out there living it, dealing with it, and suffering the consequences of the beast system that doesn't want to let its slaves go. So, I know you're not hating. Of course you're not. But you'll find that he's just not a bad guy. I don't know him that well, but he's very open-minded. He's on his own path, and he and we're on the same road, even though he's somewhere that I'm trying to get to. I know the path, and most people don't have the courage to take the same road that he has taken. And I'd love to know more about the guy and have an actual conversation and learn more. I've said that a few times. Get to know his journey and hear what he's been through. And maybe it would help other people to encourage them, because I believe that not only do I believe that men with guns protecting others is not the answer, I believe that a societal norm of mass sovereignty, of we all being our own ruler and our own master, is the only way to change this world, and not casting a vote for a left or right puppet who are the left hand of the politician, the right hand of politics belong to the same body of Lucifer. So sovereignty is the only way to go. No, you're good. You don't come in here and apologize about nothing back. You're good. You and me, we're right. We're straight. You went to lunch and came back. What'd you go have? Fish tacos? Huh? Did you go sit on underneath a palm tree? You and June? No, I let Bex have what she wanted to say. She's an intelligent woman, and I respect her knowledge and her views. That's what adults and individuals... Oh, pad thai. All right. Sounds pretty good. You know what I ate? I hate to admit it, but I've got limited time, and I hate to admit it, but I had some better made sweet barbecue potato chips and an Arby's roast beef sandwich with a slice of cheese, Swiss cheese on it, and some horsey sauce. Yeah, my diet isn't the best lately, but I'll get back to it. I've been kind of busy, and I don't like to walk around a grocery store with a fucking tether on my leg. And it's too damn hot to wear pants. So, street pad thai, huh? And 150 baht, which is probably about $5, right? Sometimes it is overstimulating to meet a new person that is inspiring mentally. I get going too fast because I'm excited. Well, let your excitement lead the conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't hurt every once in a while to speak and to keep my mouth shut. Because God knows sometimes I don't know when to shut up. right guys in the crowd right here. Yeah, see, I can do the math pretty quick in my head. 460 with a 40-cent tip, which is about $5, $3 or $4. But yeah, DMCA lawyer, you got someone that's close by you. That one big pond, he's in he's an Aussie. Oi oi oi. Put the little shrimp on the barbie. I'm sure he hates that. My bad. So yeah, Bex is very open-minded. I've listened to her a little bit, not a lot, but what I've listened to her, she's very open-minded, and maybe you can encourage other people to be open-minded about me, and we could come over here and have adult conversations in my own little panel, but it will not be a part of the panelverse. This will be Bad Apple Talk Radio. Whatever. But yeah. And Bex, the DMCA lawyer, is a copyright attorney who is helping or representing other YouTubers who have had their content stolen by nefarious actors in the YouTube community. So, and I know that my situation is very trivial compared to some of these guys with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and people stealing their content. But for me, it's more of a personal thing. It's not a business situation. It's not anything other than people disparaging and smearing my good name to try to keep me locked up, so to speak. And I guess I'll wait until Monday to see if a certain individual is no longer running the YouTube streets causing havoc with my good name coming out of her dick hole. Only thing I know is that I'm not sitting in a fucking garage sweating my dick off in boxer shorts. I should be wearing a bra because, I'm fat and I have little A-cup titties because I've recently lost 100 pounds or so, maybe 85 now that I've gained 15 pounds back, because I'm a little stressed out and I seek comfort food. But I know I shouldn't do that, and I've got to cut it down. And I had a smoothie earlier today for breakfast, and then I had 2 Arby's sandwiches, which is not good, but better than eating a lot of carbohydrates, which is not good for you, but... And I would be out walking, and I would be riding a kayak and doing all the shit that I would normally be doing. But I got a damn ankle bracelet tether on my leg thanks to some really, really cool people. Oh, I got apples and peanut butter. I've been cutting down on them. Actually, I ate the last apple yesterday. And I got to go to the grocery store and get some more of my crunchy peanut butter. I haven't been to the grocery store in a few. I got to go. But I've not really had time. Seriously. I could make time, but I've been just trying to it's not even eat. Consume a smoothie a day. I need to buy me a blender. The money that I'm spending on smoothies is... I could probably already bought a Vitamix blender, a $1,200 one, and got it on sale for like $8.50, and probably paid for itself by now. So I will get back on track. I will. So, anyways, 3 hours. I feel like I'm part of the panelverse when I do these lives. It's incredible, man, how time flies when you're on here, having a normal conversation. And if you're still listening, Bex, you can always reach out to me at badapplemedia@yahoo.com. And could leave you digits. Because I got plenty of time during the day while I'm working to shoot the shit on the phone. I've been known to talk for hours. Not that I should probably be on the phone talking for hours, but it's happened. So anywho, got Bex over here in the northeast or the northwest, southwest Canada, United States. Got people over in a person, not people. Well, unless June's watching, I guess it would be people over in Thailand. And I got people in 3 continents watching me. The beauty of the internet is pretty incredible, if I must say so. And hey, thanks, Al Gore. You're really good, man. Thanks, buddy, Al Gore. I know it was really DARPA, but I'll give Al Gore the credit. So anywho. I used to say that a lot, and I cut that down, and I don't want to start saying it again. Lynette, she's not far from the Bex Factor. Tony, she's down the road a good 10 hours from the Bex Factor in Lynette. And let's see who else is in here. I wonder if Jethro was in here. He's Ohio. Florida in the house with the Cape Man. So you guys are all over the country. 3 different continents. You had Goblin. He's down there in Indiana. Perfect place for the Goblin to be because he's a native Indian. Indiana. Yeah, Rip Curl. He's over there on the West Coast. Then we had... see, who else? Jethro Miller. Skittles Brat. I don't know where Skittles Brat's from. Loudmouth Mad Mystic. I'm just going to assume that the Loudmouth Mystic 007 is not from Georgia. Oh, yeah. All right. So that's one Skittles. I wonder what Skittles, what level of membership did Skittles purchase? Curious. Did she go with she, sorry. Did they, Zim Z, did that individual go with, what is it, applesauce, caramel apple, or apple pie a la mode? I don't know if it's a Zim or a Z or a Zer. I don't know. I don't even know the terminology of the alternative. Oh, they got applesauce. Okay, I'll take applesauce. No pork chops. Hold the pork chops with some applesauce. Hell, I gotta see how much money I got in the bank, baby. Woo! Calling the Brinks truck to come to my house, to my RV. Because, that's what losers do, is we live in RVs. Homeless people, we live in RVs. Probably didn't register yet. Nope, didn't register yet. But hey, if you want to support my journalism and cash at me outside, how about that? Cash at me outside, how about that? No. I'm up to Tony, Lynette, and anybody else who's interested. I'm up to Big Bank. $37.61. Woo! I'm in the money. No, man, it takes forever. It takes forever to make $1 on this channel or on YouTube. Let me see. What's Yeah, I know I was supposed to make some emojis and shit, but yeah, it didn't happen. I feel really good when Cammed Up Caveman becomes an applesauce member. I know that won't never happen, but I'm just messing with you, Caveman. Let me see if I can't set this on cash money. I'm going to set this on. Monetization is on. What did I do? How did I do that? Really? Oh no, that's didn't do nothing video. No, I gotta go to this one. And maybe it won't show it while I'm still live. Yeah, it won't show it while I'm still live. Because I was gonna set it to show me the money. Show me the money. Hell yeah, I'm rich, bitch. I'm Bad Apple Media. I'm rich, bitch. I'm rich in my own brain. Yeah, that's right. You know, when I'm producing content that's all about a certain somebody, what the hell? I'm about to cut them in on it. Want me to share the money with you? Want me to share my earnings with all them videos I got? All right, Dr. Dave Beergarden is being suggested. Iggy, MB5679. Building my channel. Oh, that's my that's my fucking video. That's not Iggy. It's my video about Iggy. All right. Okay, guys. Appreciate y'all coming in here and hanging out with me, of course. Did I gain any subscribers? Probably not. Probably not. But that's all right. I'll go to bed. Get me a decent night's sleep. Tomorrow's supposed to be only what temperature tomorrow? 70? Gonna be a little chilly. I turned my air off because it was cold as hell in this mofo. When I got back here, had it on all day. I haven't been over to my buddy's chopping down trees lately because he's been lazy. And I texted him today and I said, "You chop any trees down lately?" Because we're cleaning up all of his pine trees on his property. Some of you might have seen the video where there's yanking down pine trees with the Bronco Buster. He's using his Bronco, his brand new $65,000 Bronco, with all of his little cool winches and tow hooks and everything on it. We got tow straps, 15 10-foot chains, you name it. Yeah. Night Jim Bomb, good night. You guys want me to play the Waltons? You guys want me to play the Waltons? I might get copyright strike if I played it, but I haven't got copyright strike since I played that. So I guess maybe they didn't copyright it or whatnot. Because, DMCA lawyer, you still in here? If not, I do believe he told me that some things, the copyright infringement registration will expire and you can use stuff. So maybe, but I doubt it because Waltons was on CBS, so CBS ain't going to let the copyright go. Maybe it's because I'm stopping it and going, "Good night, Joe Bob, good night, Lynette, good night, Tony, good night, everybody," in between every time it says it. That might be the way. Even though I'm not transforming it, but technically I'm transforming it. Technically. So do you guys want me to do Jim Bob or do you want me to play the new outro song? Bite Me is not off the schedule. It's just not being used at the moment. It's still a very large part of my intro and outro. So do you want the Waltons to say goodnight? And to me to join the Walton family? Because I will. The new outro? Okay. You don't want to play the Waltons? Oh, Lynette wants good night, John Boy. I'll do both. Give me a minute. Let me set it up. I know I'm a terrible YouTuber and I don't ever have this stuff ready. Except for the music. But you can wait another minute. I know you guys can wait another minute. Just another minute. Maybe I'll put the Waltons on my like my videos for when you can save it in there. You know what I mean? There we go. No, that's not it. That's not it. Where did it go? Without me having to search for it. I know it's there. No, that ain't it. Damn it. It's coming. It's coming. It's in my history. It's in my history. I got a lot of history. It's in there somewhere. It's coming. I can feel it. No, that ain't it. There it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. All right. Now, y'all going to have to quiet down and get some sleep. Grandpa's talking. Grandpa's talking. All right, get off of there. All right, share that screen. Share that screen. All right, let's see here. We're going to blow it up. Get it over here. We'll have to... Oh, hold on one second. I got something to do. I got something to do real quick. I got something to do. Oh, wait. I'll play a little bit of the music. I'll play a little bit of the outro before I tell y'all good night. Here we go. Oh, we're halfway into it. I'll let it start over.
I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.
I know there's no turning it back. Take it from the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control in me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat.
My blood boils over.
Like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed?
I've felt betrayed. Once or twice. You got me fucked up.
You got me fucked up. Let me show you what's up. 'Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted. So mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back.
Ayo, ayo.
I'll do what it takes. I ain't making mistakes like that.
All right, all right.
I'll bleed on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit.
All right, all right. You guys ready? Good night. Good night. Everybody left. Nobody wants to watch. Good night. Good night. What's up? What's up? All right. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. I guess you have to come back and watch the replay.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Tony. Good night, Lynette. Good night, Captain Caveman.
Good night, Mama.
Good night, One Big Pond. Good night, Bex Factor. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate the conversation.
Night, Ben.
Good night, new dog. Hope that pad thai was pretty good. Good night, Goblin. I won't call you the cock goblin. You're just the goblin.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Rip Curl. Good night, Skittles Brat. Thanks for becoming a new member.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Oh, and you, Loudmouth Mystic 007. Appreciate you.
Good night,
Alo, Jethro.
Children. Good night, Daddy.
Oh, and you, Maria Haunted Hellcat. We're going to have to say goodnight to all you.
Good night, Elizabeth.
And good night to all you stalkers over there, too, that are paying attention on the backside. Okay? We'll see you the next time.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Right on. Good night, Jim Bob. See y'all. Take care. Catch you on the next time. I think I nailed it, y'all. I think I got you all in there. I think pretty sure I did, yep. Pretty sure I did. Let's see. Yep, Dirty Trucker out. Thanks, Caveman. Fat Apple Media. Another broadcast down. Dirty Trucker motherfucker. Out.